さあどうも皆さんこんにちは、ポンです。ALGS イヤー3スプリット2 Day 9最終日ですね。リージョンファイナル前最終日 EMEA ヨーロッパ地域をですね見ていきましょう。今日は最後ですね、最後のヨーロッパ地域の6試合が始まります。この試合を終えた段階で20位以上のチームがリージョンファイナルに向けて出場を決めますと。でいつも通り上位10チーム振り返っていきましょう。ベックスと、はい、強いです。アライアンス強いです。ファイヤービーバー強いです。今日はおそらく B と C のでアライアンス、ファイヤービーバーズあたりがね、出てきます。ですので、ベックストが A か C か覚えてないけども、アライアンス、ファイヤービーバーズが1位になる可能性がございますと。で、パイオニアも B かな、多分。昨日いなかったからね。うん。ですので、上位チームでいう、B の上位でいうと、アライアンス、ファイヤービーバーズ、パイオニアが今日は盛り上げてくれるでしょうと。試合が分かれてねえな。カット割りがされてません。頼むぜ。ちょっと、探りでいきます。
And I think that now that's going to allow V2 to kind of have more freedom with their rotation. As I alluded to earlier, it's far more difficult from the southern side, so you want these circles to be good for you, and that's not the worst start. It is going to be heading over to the eastern side.
前回のシュートね、同じようにかぶっております。チェックポイント。ここは変えない。昨日はね、A と C は全然かぶんなかったんですけども、B と C はフェニックスレガシーがどっちが先にかぶってるか分かんないが、フェニックスレガシーとジェイリングスポーツかぶってますと。まあフェニックスレガシーはこのかぶせ方でこのあさりで前のね対決の時は割といい順を残してたので継続ということでしょう。逆に J リングで言うとまあ半分以上は取れてるからちょっと惜しい感じがする。ただここも初動だな。オーロラキルポで昨日の配信ではキルポを死ぬほど稼ぎまくって多分おそらくファイト構成にね変えてるオーロラですね。いやもうキルポをね多分昨日今日とキルポを稼いで順位を死ぬほど上げていこうとそういう狙いが見えます。オーロラ元もそうだったのかもしれないけどもより強気になってる気がします。なのでワンチャン初動かぶせの可能性あるね。キルポを取りに初動かぶせに行った可能性が全然あります。
they will finish bottom in game number 1. I don't know whether that's a target tactic here from Aurora. We have seen that sometimes. The kind of higher dominant teams will look for the weaker teams in the lobby sometimes just to pick up that extra bit of KP, or perhaps heroes just don't have a comfortable landing spot. It just so happens Aurora they take on now. But alas, it means we're down to 19 and Aurora will be very happy just to get off the mark here. I do think it is important to get in an early fight sometimes just to make sure you are warmed up. I'd like to think that people would have warmed up coming into it, but you never know with some of these teams.
I'm just looking at some of the teams who are making a little bit of a rotate right now. Around Launchpad is where we find ourselves right now in this game. Gladiators, excuse me, who are making their way, and they're kind of mirroring a team who's inside of this POI at the moment. So they've got to be extremely careful, but just looking across and doing an armor check and all of the goodness that you do when you see a team who's trying to make a rotation. Hardeki with the purple shield, Leogri and Artico on blues at the moment. So looking pretty good, but you can see the ping going out. It looks like they want to maybe get a little bit more information on where the teams are set up before they try and plan their next route.
Yeah, because we're going to be heading northeast, a lot of these teams who are in the southwest side, they are going to have to move quite awkwardly across the map, and they're probably going to be gate-kept. So you need to move fast, or you need to move high. And I mean, you fly over the teams that are going to be holding you, otherwise it's just not going to be an enjoyable experience. Danish, another team that has had a lot of success on Stormpoint, by the way. They are the second highest Stormpoint percent scoring team that we have in this lobby. I know that was a mouthful. It just means that they've had more success on Stormpoint than World's Edge.
You already hit me with those ones. Jeez, you must have far more coffee than I have started the day. But look at KCP. A little bit of an early fight breaking out here. A little bit of a scuffle, and it's going to be Nightmare Esports.
ということもあってか最終週だからなのかファイトが目立ってますね。あ、まあここの絵は強いな。ここの絵はサンダーウォッチだな。今一周刺してたところの付近だからここの絵強いわ。 さあ倒したパイオニアーズにアライアンスが漁夫しに来てニューキャッスル構成のアライアンス。ただダウンが入ってないということで簡単にキルが取れないと見て引いたがまたさらに
I think we fancy this one. We've got the ability to do so. We've got the ability to push in. We're confident. Let's go.
They've also got Effect, who is kind of,
さあハキスが相当削られて、さあ2人出てきたね。ハキスの裏取りに対して2人で詰めに行った KCP、 これで2対2。いやいいショットガンや今のは。さあザイン、パッとザイン VS エフェクトのヨーロッパ最強パッと対決はさあ 1v1。あ、違う 2v1。あ、違う 2v2 のままだ。さあエフェクト1人残ってしまった。さあアーマースアップによりパイオニア有利。パイオニアが有利だ。あ、ただここにケラが来た。ああ、ちょっと長引きすぎちゃった。レベルが高すぎて拮抗しちゃった。さあケラに向けて KCP は2人で対抗する。あ、エフェクトが落とした。エフェクトが落とした。
Doesn't manage to get the knock, but looking at the kill feed, trying to keep her eyes on what's going down. Sedell has been finished, and now
さあエフェクトはソロで生存。さあサーからそこにさらにマエスト、やばい、漁夫のさ。
Everyone is flooding to the
やばい、この家をデスボのバーゲンセールになっちまう。
Well, not only that, you might be able to pick up some free KP and Maestro, as you say, the next team to join the party. The wipe is finally going to be there. Keller thought maybe they were going to pick up the pieces, but all the meanwhile, Zane has got away. Pioneers have been able to survive here. I think that's very important because a lot of teams are going to be eliminated as they are constantly pushing for these third parties.
And the crazy thing as well, with Zane getting away, if he can get away, you can see him taking some damage here. So I'm pretty sure the KCP came out of that. I'm going to call it absolute shambles inside of the egg. So if he can survive, you know, he can take the long route. He can go through zone. He can do what he needs to do. He can maybe get them back in. Even if they place inside the top 10 with that many KP, that's going to be a really good start to the game. So Zane holding his own against Effect. That was a little kind of battle within a battle between those two teams. But if he can survive and get some KP placement points to go with the KP, that's going to be a pretty good game.
I think it shows how heavy this lobby is playing towards placement as well. With the map overhead, you can see that no one is really hovering around areas like Stormcatcher, like the tier 2 areas at the moment for where this zone is going to be pulling. Everyone is biding and fighting for that northeast zone because they know full well that's exactly where this circle is going to be pulling. And even if it was to shift away unpredictably, you are at least going to be in a position where you are fighting from the uphill. But there is the prediction of the zone. That's where the teams are going to be moving. That's why they're fighting for them. And then you've got everyone else who is moving late. And the reason why you see all these teams on the southern side delaying their movement, because they know this is not going to be a circle they're going to beat the northern teams too. So they have to loot up, they have to make sure they're well equipped, and they have to try and plan and assess what route they're going to be taking, because there are going to be teams on their journey.
It's a really interesting decision here for Zane's have to make, but the decision is going to be made for him. He gets eliminated, alongside it Pioneers will fall out of the lobby early, and I'm pretty sure they'll want to have a word with Alliance about what went down there with that third party opportunity and everyone else coming in. It's one of we were talking about a third party. If you don't get the fight done within 30 seconds or so, usually can expect, especially with a predictable zone like the one that we have at the moment, for another team to arrive. So KCP and Alliance, I'm sure that story will continue as we get through the games. But this is your team. You had your eyes on down, Horizon Union.
Yeah, I think that Horizon Union, you know, they have to play things quite calm today. They don't want to do anything too crazy because realistically, if they finish like 12th or 13th, they probably do enough to at least guarantee regional finals. It really depends how high their sets are height, you know? Are they going to be making sure they just secure regionals, or do they still want to give themselves a real chance of getting to playoffs? You'd imagine it would be the latter, so they are going to be at least considering themselves as a team that is going to be getting into those playoffs, so they'll want to make sure that they do as best as they can. They want to be pushing for first place. They want to try and secure it here today. But there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to try and stop them. And I think that the big difference is we've got teams in this lobby who maybe don't need to do much, so might make more risky decisions, like Alliance did, for example. And there's going to be other teams who are going to be taking less risks because they can't afford to make mistakes.
It's an interesting lobby, isn't it? Everyone having something to play for, and it's the wonderful thing about the format of the Pro League, of course. is every team still has something on the line, whether it's, like I mentioned, relegation, promotion from challenges. If you're coming through challenges, you've got to think about that, and then you've got to think about regional finals, playoffs, whatever it might be. Every single team has their own objective in this lobby.
ワットソンとバルをね組み合わせてるね。意外とシナジーが高いんよね。日本でいうとパルブレックスがミスピックでね始めたんだけれども、ワットソンフェンスで記録取って、ただ車線はね取っちゃうからね意外と。それに対して木でカバーをするというフェンスと木で。
Yeah, I do think that regional finals are going to be nutty. They're going to be amazing. I think we already know that. As soon as match point format comes into the equation, there's always that extra elevated bit of excitement, knowing there's the what if moment. The team 20th could still get to the playoffs, and even though it's unlikely, and even though usually we see one of the biggest and best teams taking down match point format, just having the ability of anyone could do it is what makes it very exciting, and that's why you've got to make sure you are tuning into regional finals next week. But for now, we need to find out who's going to be there, and this has been a relatively slow game after we just had that incredible fight over towards the nut. Everyone is kind of slowed down because there's so much room to play now. When you see 4 or 5 teams eliminate that early on in the game, it means there's a lot more areas of space that you can actually take. You can be a bit more patient with your rotation, and a lot of the southern teams are just being really slow, to be honest.
Well, J-Ling's making their rotation. We saw them right at the start of the game, so you can see what their plan has been. They're wrapping all the way through zone. They've got a decent amount of meds at the moment, and you think maybe it's going to be a balloon in to try and find a spot to play, or maybe there is the ability to Valcott off the back of that if they need to. But the map overhead will tell us that there's a couple of teams still outside of the ring. And Dan, this isn't like one of the craziest questions I'm going to ask you, but I bet you can imagine who 2 of those teams are. You got a cheat code.
意外とやっぱ最終日ってこともあってか、
I also have that map overhead on another screen as well, so I always have a cheat code. I always make sure.
前回と比べて A と C とかめちゃめちゃ中入ってるよね。
Well, you can see that there are several teams who are more than happy with the position that they're currently residing in. I'm more concerned about the teams who are joining late. I mean, J-Lings, this is a big old rotation they're making. They, of course, are going to be fighting from the zone still, even though they've just gone way out of their way. They're just trying to make sure they get up to a good set of health, shields, weapons, just things to work with. The fact they're even back on their feet, I think they're going to be more than happy that they're not taken down from the skies. Sometimes when you make this rotation, there will be people keeping an eye on this area, but they've got a lot to work with, it would seem.
Yeah, they do. They have the ability to not only craft medkits here, but they also, over at Lightning Rod, have that map room available, that scan that they can hit, and then they can see where the lay of the land is, where everybody else is set up, and some of the negative RNG, if you like, of the Valkyrie ult, because you know where other teams are, you know if there's a spot that's going to be free, and you can play for that. I hope you get there before another team can see that as an opportunity. Speaking of opportunities, Bitfix Gaming might see an opportunity here for a couple of KP with a high ground over Stormcatcher, but the only problem is the team who's down on the low ground is Fire Beavers, and if you've been watching any Pro League this year, you'll know that it doesn't really matter how Fire Beavers have to fight, what angle they're at, it's always a rough one to go up against.
And Bitfix Gaming are one of our teams that are in the bottom kind of 6 at the moment, bottom 5. So relegation on the cards, but if they were to get, a 10-point match day today, suddenly they can push themselves up and find themselves in regional finals if we saw a team like Passion, for example, falter and finish in the bottom 2. So it's always that what if here for Bitfix Gaming. Do they have enough? Can they just push themselves? Can they stay out of relegation, or can they push themselves a little bit further and find themselves in the regional finals just to give them the chance of playoffs? Everyone wants to be in the regional finals, right? And sometimes it's about taking the fights, though, when they are presented to you, rather than just retreating from them. I think there's a lack of confidence from certain teams in a lot of these lobbies, and I'm not really surprised. I think if I was playing against the likes of Fire Beavers, for example, I'd probably be running with my tail between my legs whenever someone's approaching us. But it was something we heard from Phoenix yesterday from Horizon Union. You've got to play with confidence. What we saw TSM did when they won Split 1 playoffs, they played with confidence throughout that entire tournament. They believed in themselves in every single team fight, not just their rotations, not just the macro. It was actually about their positioning in those fights and making sure they're aggressive at the right times.
Well, to bring you back into the game here and give you a little bit of a lay of the land, this is a very interesting southern side of where this zone is going to be pulling, because you can see Aurora, they forced Bitfix Gaming back, who tried to rotate in towards them. They've been sent back towards Stormcatcher, and a perfect switch from our observers here to show you exactly what that's forced them to do. They've only got 10 seconds until that zone starts to close behind them, and they're already getting charge rifle from height. So this is a really tough rotation, and that's the Aurora effect, right? They might have the ability here to hit the map room scan. The survey beacon should give them a lay of the land, but V2, this is a really interesting little bit of development in this game.
V2 がいて、それをビットフィックスがやって、
we mentioned how V2 need a good day today, Dan, to force them into that top 10.
Yeah, it was always going to be a rough-ish rotation for V2 coming from Fish Farm, so I don't think they'll be too disappointed with at least a top 15 where they've been able to secure a point, and maybe you can see the last player rat out for an extra placement point or two. But again, all these teams that are moving from the southeast side now are all going to struggle, and this is a building that's had so much action.
デニッシュがここを取ろうと完全にやる気です。これはやる気ウルト。
This building is literally a graveyard at this point.
いや裏取りはバレてる。
Just going to be connecting here from Tolkien. They do have that zero down, so they're going to have a little bit of information to play with. It looks like the zero might have actually expired or been destroyed. So that information has now been completely eliminated. And all of a sudden, Dynasty are probably thinking, hey, this feels a little bit more ropey than it did a few seconds ago. However, those shots with the Prowler from Tolkien at the second time, with all the teams stacked up inside and around them. There's going to be shots coming in from the charge rifle from range, so they have to be careful. V2 have gone down in the meantime. Phoenix Legacy were also eliminated around 30 seconds or so ago, so the lobby's starting to cut itself down now. 13 squads remaining.
It's one of those situations where you don't want to force a fight here if it's not there for you. You can both cohabit, you can both be in the same building. It's just a matter of making sure you position yourself to be ready for an engagement if the other team gets a little bit excited. Dynasty obviously are the ones who are going to be pushing for it because they have players surrounding those inside. They can really force this fight if they want to. Don't get the first knock.
これはでかい。ローというホックが入ってるからここから2対2このアーマーサップしてさあアーマーサップさあ2対12対1いやー取り切ったマエストロ守りましたこれ今日来るかフェニックスレガシーとかは移動したかそうだねこれアンチの形的に周りの舞台になそうだねさあ GG はワットソンで酒を削ってるオーロラは家をあーローローロー
has done far better time and time again throughout this game. It seems like the team that was pushing it just appears to be cursed and can't quite manage it, and it really was down to that first knock as well. It would have been a huge difference if you get that knock, you can back off, you can reshield. It's going to be an easy fight for Dynasty in that position, but that shows how important some of those 1v1s are going to be when you get into those engagements. But 26 seconds, there are 6 teams outside of this circle. They're all going to have to move, so half of the lobby have to move, and probably will all be fired upon when they do.
GG in a great position here, by the way. They've got 2 teams below them who are going to have to leave the buildings and move towards that position. One of them is Aurora, one of them is Fire Beavers. Now, you might see that as good news or bad news, depending on where the stick you're kind of looking at, but Gaim Gladiators do have a chance here to pick up some KP, and if they can do that, they'll be able to Valcol afterwards and find a spot in zone. But this is a moment for them. It looks like they're going to make the move early here, Dan. What do you make of that one?
Yeah, I was wondering whether they would risk the KP or try and go for a placement. I think that because it's game number 1, they're going to go for the less risky play. They are going to go for the more placement-heavy play, and it looks like everyone else is going to be doing the same. Perhaps that was a reason why they made that decision. They assumed everyone else would be Valcoling as well. We've got 3 to 4 teams in the sky right now, but there is not much room to play. See where they land.
Fire Beavers failing to land safe. Taskmaster, not a lot of HP, but has plenty of time to pop the shield battery. Vortex have just been eliminated as well, so now we're down to 10. And look at the kill feed. It's starting to pick up here. Fire Beavers are going to lose 1. Also on the other side of that, GG did lose 1 in a fight. The knocks aren't going to be converted by the looks of things, and Fire Beavers with the smokes from the Bangalore should be able to get the rest here and reset.
It's such a terrifying position when you fly in blind as well, but even if you can find any sort of cover, you're going to at least have that little moment of respite where you can reassess what you're going to do in these final circles. Passion eliminated in 10th position as Aurora fighting from low to high. Such an awkward fight, but you've just got to make sure you're watching your angles and you're communicating everything to the team. The R9 does enough damage, the Nemesis does follow up, but Aurora, this is what Aurora usually best at, these 3v3 engagements, but this is such a tough fight.
Need to make the most of this as a 1v1 in this situation. Ranches has to reload the R9. Does have the ability to jump by and knock down shield, which is going to be gold. Can he finish this fight? Yes, he can. Danish are eliminated, and Aurora keep moving forward. But here comes that third party. It's going to have to be a bit of magic if they want to stay in the game. Not going to happen, but we can eliminate them. GG out as well.
What do we say? Bitfix Gaming, they need to have a day here. They need to be taking themselves out of relegation into regional finals. And I tell you what, game 1 looks like it's heading the right way for them so far. So now we're down to what, 6 squads remaining, so quite literally half of our lobby was cut in half with that circle closing as expected. Now we've got the teams who have found found themselves in those prime positions right from the get-go. We saw the early fights in this game. We saw the teams who wanted this kind of northeast area of the map. Are they going to be rewarded for it now? Look at the rotation Jayling's made, by the way. Look at the building they've been able to find themselves in one of the best spots, as well as Horizon. They're going to be able to shoot down from above and make it a living hell for any team that's trying to approach this next circle.
やめてやめてあげてワンチャン刺さるその軌道うわあやめて入ってねえのか下入るかなこのままいくとマエストラ移動したジェイリングを潰すかそれとも屋上取るかああナイスの裏取り
where they had a bit of a disappointing performance, Jaylings, with the new roster. They have averaged 20 points per series, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and as we alluded to earlier, Checkpoint has the highest win rate of drop spots in this region. And Jaylings are probably the reason why that is going to be, with the amount of success they've had so far. And it looks like they could add to that statistic right here, right now. They're into the final 5. Remember how good, by the way, this team was prior to Jaylings when they did form. They were one of the best kind of placement teams around when they were members of Invictus Gaming. They always knew how to get into these final circles and how to pull off those wins.
残りソロはどこ行った？
Have to look for a few KP here. You can see they're not going to be safe as that zone starts to close. So what is the next play for them? You can see they're picking that rock, maybe playing their head glitch and hoping that Horizon take a little bit of damage. It's Bitfix Gaming who are going to be dealing out a bit of damage. But look at Horizon on the low ground as well for Fire Beavers. He's still in this game. And Maestro, they have one player alive as well and he's on top of Jaylings and looking down.
Over under Pepsi Cola. Lionel Pepsi's going to be up there and he could really change things in this final circle. He's going to be sneaky for now. Just go unheard, unseen. If any noise is given away, Jaylings will just turn and absolutely eliminate Sanya. So it's got to be patience. It's got to hope that maybe the noise ringing around Storm Point can cover for you here, but I think the cat's out of the bag. Maybe now it's just going to be a case of Jaylings making sure they eliminate this rat from behind them.
It'll be Sanya, aka Lionel Pepsi.
さあファイヤービーバーズはホライゾンの一人降りて弾こうとしたけど逆に返される。
from Maestro because they wouldn't have got the finish. Oh, the Kraber! Oh my goodness!
Oh my Kraber!
Jaylings play a fall to the ground and bonk his head. Nags is going to move in to maybe think about a red.
なるほど一人やったんだ。ホライゾンが決勝で入れた。
Felt like a bag of sand to the floor, and that Horizon Union can not only push on in and take this space, but they can also pick up the KP. And I think it was just because the one remaining player from Maestro made Jaylings second guess themselves. They were constantly worried, and Horizon Union had taken full advantage of that.
Skynate is going to say hold this one. The R99 spray is going to be even better. 3 squads now remaining.
いやーまさにクレーバーで試合が決まった。さあゆっくりね、ここはゆっくりソロ相手とはいえワンチャンね、ワンチャンやられちゃうから。あ、タスクも起こしたのすごい。待って、それはすごい。
Well, they're not going to have much to
throw
except their fists.
あー、殴り VS。あー、ワンバイワン。ワンバイワン。
Phoenix though with a 1v1, it's going to happen.
うわー、マジ
The Fire Beavers do it. The 2 players out of the dropship.
やば。
We've seen some crazy finishes in our time in the ALGS, but that was one of the most insane.
ソロで残ってたのに2人起こした2人がパンチで勝ったよ。
I've never seen anything like that. I've never ever seen anything like that. It's the first time for everything here.
これはもう一回見よう。いつもサクサク進行だけど。
Horizon Union, you can see they're all matching with the Reds.
この時点で1人よまだ。この時点で多分1人。残り2人になったところでファイアービーバーズがワンピック取って起こしてる間に起こしてる間にワンピック取った2対2でさらにもう1人倒した。これで3対1になってんだ。でうわーすげえこれ。これすごい。結構歴史に残る大勝利じゃない？マジか。諦めないって大事な。リスポンビーコンって大事だな。やばすぎ。でかすぎ。素晴らしいゲームでしたね。いやこういうとこね、こういうとこがやっぱ強えな。勝っちゃうんで調子いいチームはこういうところで。さすがっす。まあ最終順位はこんな感じです。 とキル的にビットフィックスとマエストロはね家を守ってたっていうところでかなりキルを稼ぎました。オーロラも相変わらずプレイスメントは低いけども積極的にキルをね稼ぎにいったポイントを稼いでます。さあでは2試合目いきましょう。かぶり気になるね。避けた。避けたな、どっか。オーロラに負けたどっかが避けた。どこ行ったか全然わかんないけど。やばすぎ。
Yeah, I mean, that is a very positive experience for them. They obviously realized when they looked at the first drop that no one was going to down beast. They said, oh, it's a bit, oh, okay, circle's coming our way. Now they can just sit pretty. I'll be honest, heroes do not need to move. They can position themselves on the far western side of down beast, but there will be teams who are going to try and take that priority position away from them. This is also a good circle for J-Lings in checkpoint. As we alluded to earlier, one of the highest win rate positions in the region from the drop spots is checkpoint and J-Lings. So they can either stay at checkpoint for a while, loot up, maybe take the fight with the team near them, or they can go for that quick fast rotation over towards down beast. But we're going to see a lot of teams move early here, especially those who are of course close to down beast.
この寄り方だと第2ロースポット側になるっぽい円なんだけどもなぜかダウンズビストに寄った。
We saw how ready to go for those early game engagements KCP was. Obviously, Zane tried to escape and maybe save the game a little bit for them. Wasn't able to, but still they were ready to take those fights. We also did notice, or at least I saw that Horizon Union were already starting to make their rotation down through Stormcatcher and start getting closer into the zone. Everyone already trying to find that priority position. I am interested to see how all of those northern squads rotate though, because some of them are so comfortable they can continue to be hyper aggressive and not really get punished for it at all.
Yeah, and you can see the pick rates of all the legends as well, just scrolling through at the top of your screen. We've got a lot of Valkyrie as expected. Catalyst 25% of the lobby, so it's not as prevalent as it has been in previous weeks where we had, you know, sometimes 10 plus Catalysts involved in compositions. It does seem like people are transitioning away from Catalyst a little bit and maybe learning that you don't necessarily need her in these final circles as long as you have a seer. Even though Catalyst is often the best counter to a Catalyst, as long as you have a seer to put an exhibit down, you can usually just spray through regardless. You don't need someone who can push on through. It was actually something that Phoenix was talking about from Horizon Union yesterday. And I think that Horizon Union, you know, it was a disappointing ending for them in the end. They probably felt like that one was in the bag, but sometimes when two boys drop out of the dropship and just punch you to death, you've just got to turn around, shake hands and say, fair enough, lads, you've managed to make it happen and you've managed to make a memorable moment that we're all involved with.
3対3の戦闘めっちゃ強いからね、ニーキャス。
さあ、
高い位置で速いジャンプ手慣れたもんですね。ボックスでの上からだとちょっと高めで。
Game, not a lot of points, but at least some to keep themselves in the running right now as they're going for this rotation to find a spot here. They need to really have a strong performance overall.
Yeah, I mean, even if they finished 19th overall today, they would still overtake Totem, who are in 20th at the moment, but their concern is the teams that are behind them. And when we've just seen Bitfix Gaming, for example, having a worthy of a game one, if Bitfix were to be consistent throughout all 6 matches today, then suddenly they start knocking on the door of that top 20, and they are going to force a team like Passion to have a good game week. They can't afford to falter here, otherwise they would find themselves dropping out of that top 20. Well, J-Lings and Maestro, I mean, they've gone toe-to-toe many a time throughout this season, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen right here, right now. Quite predictably, J-Lings want to just get into one of the priority positions over towards down beast. I think a lot of teams will move quickly, and it looks like J-Ling is going to be one of the quicker to do so.
さあ J リーグはダウンズビス入ろうとしたが無理ってなってね入りませんってなって
J-Lings on that rotation, they do take a little bit of damage while they're landing out of that Valk rotate. Nag's gonna need to get some shields there. Maestro kind of gatekeeping them a little bit here, not really letting them do exactly what they wanted to do. I don't know if they were considering dropping on Maestro or took too much damage and then decided to bail, but either way, a little bit of a reset here, and now it's stalemate between both teams.
Yeah, it was very much the abort button was pushed there from J-Lings. They wanted to get into down beast, they took too much damage, and they said, you know what, maybe the trenches are just a little bit more safe for us right now. We're going to have to reevaluate here, and we're just going to have to plan, wait for that ultimate to come back up again before we make our move. They've realized that actually a lot of teams have already made it to down beast. They probably thought they were one of the quickest, but alas, is not going to be the case. We've already got, what, 6 teams over towards Down Beast, if not more. There's so much congestion up there, I can't even see the name tags. That is how crazy Down Beast is getting at the moment. Everywhere else, though, it's looking a little bit more awkward as a lot of teams are trying to move their way from the southern side. And you can see here, KCP, BCGO, there is a lot of teams here who are just going to be kind of living together, close, just waving at each other from a distance, but probably won't fight just yet.
KCP though, setting up shop a little bit with their fences. You saw quite a few teams have their fences already placed both below KCP. I think we saw Heroes above who have one of the more comfortable positions for themselves right now, as everyone is just going to wait for somebody else to make the first move. I think even for some of these teams, match number 1's early game aggression was just a little bit too chaotic, and they decided to settle in, especially when you're considering where this end zone is. Not a whole lot of space that they can play, so once they claim it, they want to make sure they own it for a while. Got Gladiators now on the bottom level of this building. And all these teams can coexist for a very long time. Even if they end up trying to do some poke damage and be a little bit annoying, they still can at least live here for a bit.
They can, but a lot of these teams, Lauren, haven't actually managed to get ring console information, and they are committing heavy to this kind of trident port that you see over on this area, and I think the circle might end up pulling closer towards Down Beast, but Gaming Gladiators have already lost one, the Ogre's gone down, and now this is a case of just holding as a 2 and hoping you can do enough to keep the team at bay.
If this is a fight that Heroes can come out on top into, this would be massive for them. Not only for the literal points, but for the fact that it would boost their confidence as well. But I think we might have a little bit of server issues there, as we are going to give ourselves a moment here to get reset and figure out exactly what's going on with that. But the takeaway for me was that at least Heroes are bouncing back there, because after the start in match number 1 that could have been rough for some teams, and they were at least able to make a solid adjustment and then look much more confident season, and our questions will be answered here. As you see, Heroes has now claimed Down Beast as their home for the remainder of their time here on Storm Point. Everybody else spreading out pretty comfortably. Maestro, another team that did very well in match number 1. They were kind of right on the inside cusp of that top 20 bubble with a phenomenal performance there as they had come through the wall. Potential contest, but not really looking like they're safe over there. And this zone is going to be massive yet again for Horizon Union.
Yeah, this is going to be a similar story to what we saw in match number 1 when it comes to Circle. We're going to be going northeast again, but this time probably further up towards Lightning Rod, where Alliance are currently residing. They can be the kings of the mountain here, and they can make sure they hold on to that fort and deny anyone from joining them. But there will gradually be more teams that make their way over, get over towards Lightning Rod. Maybe you have to just succumb to the pressure and say, alright, we'll take Thunderwatch temporarily, but eventually this is most likely going to be moving to the far northeast. We might see a lot of fights happening in that kind of nut building that we saw in match number 1 again. It seems they're kind of forcing their way up, just trying to find a spot, and if they hear those gunfights, they are going to take those engagements and go for the third parties. I mean, it could be absolute mayhem. Maybe we'll see a team come out of the dropship to win another final circle here, Laura.
I don't know if I can handle the 3rd, 4th, and 5th parties that happened in that nut building yet again. It will be exciting if it happens. Fire Beavers, though, getting themselves set up here at the very beginning of the match, and a team that at this point can honestly kind of do whatever they want when it comes to their gameplay. They've had such a phenomenal season in general that they have set themselves up for success.
I feel like Fire Beavers are a team who just do what they want in general in life. You know, they aspire to be like the Fire Beavers. They play what they want, they play the style that they want, they play the inputs that they want. They don't even have to play controller like half the lobby has moved to and transitioned to nowadays. They are such confident players, and I think such an important part of this region as well with their playstyle. And I can't wait to see how they'll perform when they get to land, if they get to land, but of course it's looking very likely. Now remember, in match number 1, J-Ling's made a big old rotation around the northern side of the map to then find themselves on the northeast side and get into the last final circle, only really taken down by a Maestro Rat, so they'll be looking to try and right those wrongs here in match number 2.
ジャンプタワー、モバイルジャンプタワーみたいなのがね実装されるらしくて、ワールドエッジとかにね刺さってるバルジャンみたいなのができるジャンプタワーがモバイルリスポンビーコンみたいに手持ちで運べるっていうのが実装されるらしく、これでバルが多分減ると思うんだよね。それ持ってたらバルいらなくなるから、バルが増える減ってそのモバイルビーコン、リスポンビーコンとジャンプタワー持つチームが増えるんじゃないかな。
A shot gets fired, and I tell you what, look at the panic in the face of all these players as soon as they hear a shot ring out through Storm Point, because they realise the gig is up, the jig is up, and they're going to have to maybe reassess how they want to take this fight. Remember, this is heroes who are bottom of the overall leaderboards. They are not going to be full of confidence. They would be hoping to get the jump on a team like J-Lings, but now instead J-Lings have managed to catch them out, and it looks like this fight may not even happen, because J-Lings weren't really well equipped for it. There was a couple of grey shields I saw there, and it's whether J-Lings will just try and get out of this one.
できるだけこう感情を入れたりとか、楽しそうにできると嬉しいので。
They won't. Heroes are the ones that need the extra KP here, so they're the ones that are a little bit more desperate when it comes to trying to push an early game engagement. If they have the opportunity here, they make a move up and end up claiming the space for now. But we have some fights going on over here on the Horizon Alliance, KCP, all surrounding each other, starting to deal some damage back and forth. And we've seen
もうあれか、上に来させうまそれ、上に来させないためのキャッスルだ、それは。下にいるチームがアライアンスを詰めてこないためにニューキャッスル、うわ、そういう使い方なんだ。
What's important for Alliance here is they just create space and they make themselves big and they say we are the kings of this mountain, we are holding the high ground and we are going to back you down if you even attempt to come near us. So that's why they kind of put a few pop shots in. They said, look, this is where we are, don't even think about it, and we can live together, we can cohabit, and we can just wait till this end game and maybe we'll see you in the final circle. Meanwhile, while all that commotion was happening, we did see Passion eliminated in 20th place. Remember, Passion were that team they would keep an eye on because they were holding that 20th spot, or 21st, but most likely 20th. If they were to keep falling in last position, there is still an opening for teams to try and break through to get to regional finals. But Pioneers, they're still looking at this one, but I think this is just going to be a little bit of a measuring contest where neither team is going to end up getting anything. Instead, it's just testing armors, it's making sure your armors get a little bit better, but you want to deplete the resources of other people rather than deplete your own.
Listen, you said earlier how much you love hearing from Natsuki on social media. Well, let's check in with Pioneers in-game as well and jump into a listen and presented by WD Black.
Yeah.
アーマーは来たままだね、こういうところ長丁場になりそう。まあ暇な時間が続く感じですが。
We would have died like
we actually would have died like fucking
常に視野で周りを確認して、まあアーマーも育てたいから。
If we had an alt excel, we could have made up for it though. We would have skipped crafting, and we would have alt excelled in the car, and then we would have back ulted, and we would have rotated 30 seconds faster than we did.
Is there any way you queue the door off here, Zane? It's a bit difficult to do it from that door, maybe walking out.
Listen, I'm gonna loot again, okay? There's the
周りのね、車線とかもあるし、上にアライアンスがどっか1チームがいるっていうのがでかくて、どうやっても詰めれないんだよね。だから同居せざるを得ません。
2x, anyone coming
back for it? Yeah.
2x.
あ、うまいね。そのブッシュうま。
Dropping 2x. Take this heavy that I dropped. There's another box I'm looting, okay? I'm looting another box on the outside here. These guys can shoot me though. It's actually in a really bad spot. Those bats in the 3x R3 flatline and a golden stick. Purple stabilizer.
I need that.
何がいいって、
The barrel? I'm gonna get.
建物のドアからちょうど車線が通るんだよね。戦闘起きる場所の。だからこの家とかも南側見たりとかね。しとけば
Barrel and 3x.
強い。
There's more arcs on this box here that I can go for, which can win us late game.
We have so
many
win us
late game though.
There's an energy mic here.
I'm gonna go for it, okay? I think it's worth. I'm dropping 4 cells more for you though.
You want me to hold your height?
I want you to hold height again, yeah. I'm scanning real quick. He's on the. No, they're all 3 there. I'm not going.
Okay.
I think someone just vac ulted or something. Yeah, someone just vac ulted here for the shit room. We 3p when Alliance griefs that, okay? Alliance is gonna grief that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, it's Sane. Listen. Sane, peek with me here, okay? We're not gonna white swing them, but we're gonna peek them a little bit. Maybe we can get a knock in this instigate. Del, you're holding our fallback, okay? You're looking up here, Del.
Yeah.
Okay?
グネスクのオーダーが。ああ、詰めた。
Back.
なるほど。まあワンチャンワンピック取れたらいいぐらいの感じだったね。
Yeah.
I can.
物資があるからマジワットソン構成だから多少リスクを冒してね。でもちょっとキルポ狙いに行ったね。いやこういうとこ貪欲だね。もう世界大会は決まってんだけどね。怖かったね今。フェニックスレガシーか。怖かったね今の攻め。
How they got to where they are in the game, but then also breaking down how they were going to push up, swing, and go for a knock there, at least get some damage down on the squad above them.
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, the main thing I took away was how important they found the dropship positioning to be and where the direction it was. It went over mill, so they were happy to get out of that dropship early and rotate quickly. They were saying, hey, if we had been coming from a different direction and we arrived in mill late, we would have been the team that got eliminated like Passion were in 20th. And that's how well these teams know who is dropping where they're rotating from as well. As soon as they saw Passion eliminated, they were like, oh, that could have been us had we not had a quicker drop. So it does show how the direction of the dropship also affects these games. Quite importantly, rather than just the drops, because it can take the time. Secondly, was the instigator method that I saw happening there as well. Just trying to poke and prod the beast to see if you can initiate a fight and then potentially third party. It didn't work out, but it does show that sometimes when you are in those environments where everyone's huddled up, sometimes you can take a risk. You can throw a few pop shots in just to try and initiate a few fights here and there. It's not always going to work out in your favor, but sometimes nothing happens anyway.
グネスクいるチームが倒したらフェンネルがナイスグネスクみたいに言ったりとかしてね。お互いがお互いの健康を支え合って大会終わった後めっちゃ仲良くなったみたいな、そういうシーンがあって、その時やっぱグネスクが一番なんか明るく笑顔でフェンネルを応援してくれて、めっちゃなんかなかなか FPS で見ない初動ファイトのあったかいエピソードってすごいね、好感が日本のファンの中でもめっちゃ好感が上がってる選手ですよね、グネスク選手。だからね、ヌートバーみたいな感じ、WBC見てた人はわかるけど、めっちゃ明るくていいやつって感じ。
I mentioned it in match number 1. They are one of the more storm point heavy teams when it comes to where they've got their points from this season, and I want to see why. At the moment they've only got 2 points, finding themselves in 12th place, and they didn't really have a match 1 to scream and shout about, and maybe a very similar match 2 if Babies cannot get out of dodge here, but great movement to ensure that you can get behind that rock and get a battle.
詰められないようにはしたか、まあそんなにデニッシュは削れてるわけじゃない。
On top of each other when it came to the leaderboard, they were only separated by 1 point, I believe, heading into the day or something like that. So they are very, very close. A fight where one of these teams can come out on top would at least give them a little bit of cushion if they're able to clear out some of their competition around them.
まあ今のウルトはどうなんだろうね。なんか
just remember how important Maestro were in that final circle of match number 1 as well. It was just one remaining player at Sanya at the end as a rat, making life a living hell for J-Lings. And we'll see whether Maestro can do a similar thing here. They are in a pretty good position at the moment for where the circle is pulling. It's probably going to continue to pull more northeast, so Maestro will have to move a bit more. But for now, they're just focusing on holding down this building. They don't want to push out and get too excited for this fight because they know there are teams in the area who can also join the fight if it gets a little bit too dicey.
これはデニッシュの一人かな、上取りに来たかな。欠かさず
hit some shots through the smoke, unable to connect with any of them, but Maestro doing a good job.
ただだいぶ削られて、あ、なんか別のやついる。あれもデニッシュ？デニッシュ縦横無尽だね。
a lot of the chaos and able to also trade off the time to give each other an opportunity to get their cells off and continue with this engagement here. Sanya once again getting some damage, backing off, and then healing up. I mean, they're toggling their damage with each other incredibly well.
Hope that's the only thing, but we will see across the board. We've got 18 Valkyries in this lobby, which it's gone up since match number 1. Everyone wants to get involved and make sure they can be able to skyward dive. I think that there was a worry when the nerf happened for Valkyrie early on that maybe she wasn't going to be a part of the meta, but I think it's so prevalent now that you have to have that ability to rotate here on Storm Point, especially because of the difference of high ground from north to south as well. And it means that everyone pretty much in this lobby is going down that route. But Mythics Gaming, who have a lot to do today and have impressed us in match number 1, and they're going for another push here.
もう速攻で詰めに行った。潰せるチャンス。ただ返しが、いやバンガのウルト強いこういう時。返しのバンガウルト。
The Bangalore ults coming down, getting their heals off. You've got Seer ults all over the place, and they're just trying to deal as much damage as possible. Somehow able to survive all of that chaos quite successfully. Still a decent amount of ammo for Trix as well. Could do some serious damage if he's able to connect with a Kraber here.
whiffs the first, but
うわ惜しい
kind of for a second, but misses that one as well. And I think when you miss the second, that's when you need to back off and just reset a little bit here as Bitfix Gaming. And we did see in match number 1 how important that Kraber was and what difference it made. I think it ruined Jay Ling's match. It has to be said. Fighters are now going to get involved in this little scrap and good damage coming out.
でもちゃんと味方と合わせてる。単独行動ではない。
Fire Beavers making a move here as they were on the edge the entire time and now trying to push in this engagement, dealing with only 2 Taskmaster, no shields either. Gonna have to back off and see if he can get it back here to try to save some of this fight.
フィックスは3人残ってる。で、活気も取ってる。それは強い。それは強い。さあ、右削った後左行くと。ただアーマー割れてる。これ返されるかも。ああ、倒せました。
The aggression is massive right now.
Cleaning up the OJ just as I did for breakfast this morning. Bitfix Gaming, they are putting on a show for us today when they needed to. It is crunch time. They were down in the relegation positions, are still down in the relegation positions, but really want to put themselves within a shot to get to regional finals. And if we see them finishing like the top 5 today, the regional finals are very much a possibility for them. So we'll have to keep a keen eye on how Bitfix do for the rest of the day. But taking down teams like Fire Beavers, that is a huge confidence builder, that's for sure. Speaking of teams getting taken down, Aurora only have 1 player alive, but Ranches will get the final bit of a wipe onto Maestro, and now here come the reses. So we missed most of it, but we get back to the most important bit, and that is Aurora winning this engagement. And Aurora, who still have quite a lot to do if they want to put themselves in a good position for playoffs later on in the regional finals.
やばい、活気炉入りたくない。活気炉入りたくない。
Charge rifle coming through there as Aurora was trying to go for that final res. Forcing them off of it successfully and then preventing Aurora from getting a full 3 alive and ready to push it. Now Aurora know that not only does the enemy team know that they're at a disadvantage, but they're going to have to continue to push through them as they at least get themselves healed back up and ready to handle whoever is right in front of them. I believe Dynasty also going down in the kill feed as teams are starting to drop in. Here is the Nut, which has been pretty chill so far.
There's been a lot of action in the Nut in the first 2 games, but this time it's just going to be held a little bit more safely by the Gaming Gladiators. You did see the last remaining player of Fire Beavers was still down below one of the rocks, but might get caught out by the Gaming Gladiators, who are going to be watching on. And it looks like Aurora also doing some damage to this final. Who's going to get it? Who's going to shoot out the sky? It's like Duck Hunter is going to happen, but no one manages to hit the shot, so just manages to survive. No, Heroes get eliminated in 14th position. So Aurora going to be a little bit frustrated here, I think. You said it was a cheeky charge rifle shot. I think it was just blatant griefing that came out, but I just hate the charge rifle when it's happening against me. Love it when it's in my hands, though, I will say. But it seems like most teams who have found a position in the northern side do have eyes on all of these squads that are moving from the southern side as well.
いやそうだよね。いやそこの中でそこの中に入りたいんだけど。
A reposition ends up losing cleave in the meantime. Ranch is now solo trying to at least survive. Gets a shield swap that was definitely not intended for them, but able to at least use it for now. Might be able to get
起こして2人ならまだでかいぞ。あ、ただ GG がバルジャン失敗したな。絶対バルジャン失敗した。バルジャン撃ち落とされた。さあ、ビットフィックスとかいろんなチームに撃ち落とされた。うわ、無理やりいった。無理やりいった。
Bitfix Gaming or just big friendly giants at this point because they have been a completely different team and they take down the Gaming Gladiators in a very quick fashion as they push up onto the nut building. But now this is where life gets difficult. Because they have to push out to the next point of contact, and there are teams watching them. Are there any available spots would be my biggest question. Can they actually find a nook or a cranny to hide behind? It looks like maybe they should be able to because a lot of teams are up here towards Lightning Rod. But we'll have to see what they can do because ever since the start, Alliance have been holding Lightning Rod. They've been dominating this mountain. So let's see what Alliance have to say. Let's jump into a listening presented by WD Black.
もう本当にガチガチ中ムーブのチームがバルンタワーとバルキリー両積みで最速ムーブをするか。今の環境的にバルーンタワーでいい気がするんだよな。また誰かバルーンタワーがなかったんですよね。相手で運だから。レプリケーターとかでバルーンタワーが作れる日はバルキリー抜いてとかはあるかもしれない。そっか、そのランダム要素あるな。バルキリーは確定で
By the way, there's duo down here on me.
バレンターは
Duo down here on me.
落ちてるかどうか不安定だからな。
Yeah, yeah.
これは難しい問題だな。
There's also a duo
In the
right?
building effect. I think you should play in the building, so you can
世
fly up
界
and
大
down. You
会
need to be on the
シー
bottom
ズン
and make
17から
presence.
だからさ、絶対環境変わるじゃん。
There's 2 duos around us, guys. It's really good.
プレイ
Really, really good.
楽しみ。
I'm just lagging.
I think I play outside here. What do you think?
さあ、アライ
Yeah,
アン
that's
ス
fine.
は
Just safe pace.
I can stick my armor.
Try to Moby.
上を取ってるが、
Yeah,
た
this
だ
is a duo below us.
進行されてるね。
Yeah, but we
せっか
can't
く
see
置い
Soul,
た
remember. They're
あ
trying
れ
to
も
rest,
壊
maybe.
されて、
Nah, they cannot
フ
rest
ェニ
because
ッ
of
ク
the
スレ
channel.
ガシーがちょっとずつ上に北上してってる。
We need to get
た
the
だ
team
アライア
bottom
ンス
killed,
激
guys.
強アンチは変わらずだな。本当に北
I
に
haven't
寄
just
ったね。
holding a crossfire. I'm gonna try and scan this guy. If you can like angles on him.
And the problem is I'm in Storm here. I have to tank Storm every time I peek.
平石
Yeah,
ア
we
ンチの
don't,
ね
we、don't do shit.
Yeah.
強すぎる理由はね、平石へのアクセ
Yeah,
ス
careful
の
invisible
仕
zone
方
here,
が
guys.
ね、
Invisible zone. Be really
チ
be
ップ
careful.
とキャノンとね、
Bargo T.
1個の橋ぐらいしかないから、あ、これは、でも入れるかな、そ
Don't
れ。
splash.
They're landing on tunnel, I
They're
think.
trying to go for tunnel. On me.
Watch out, literally one, Watson. Literally one.
そこ
I'm
行け
watching
る
the zip.
そこ
I'm
やば
watching
く
the
な
zip
い
south.
Two died.
あー、いやー、美味しい。美味し
Need
すぎ
syringes. I
る
need
よ。
syringes. No syringes.
Can you
何の
look
リ
at
ス
this
ク
guy,
Guys, he's a duo.
何のリスクも犯さずに。
I knocked one down here.
Oh, come.
51 inside.
下がリオって気づいてないのか。いや、でも視野より
You
も
hold across.
Even back. There
ま
are
あ
no
ちょっ
nades
と攻め
inside.
づらい
Look at
地
this.
形
Look
は
at
してるよ
this.
ね
Look at。this. Look at
Oh,
this.
you
Look
go
at this,
やる
guys.
としたら挟み込む。右と左から撃つん
We
だ
can
け
kill
れ
the
ど
duo
も。
inside, Hackers, I think.
Yeah, I fucked on a nades.
Yeah, let's go. I'm
あ、もう
nading.
行くって決めたね。
Good
もう行くって決めた。
I'm swinging.
I'm
二
nading
人
it,
で
nading
行くって
it.
決めたね。
I got stuck.
Careful, cover.
あー、刺さ
I'm
っ
going
た
back. I'm。going back up.
Yeah,
Come
go
back,
back.
come back up. Ultimate height.
あー、一旦戻ろうと。
Watch me, Hackers, watch me.
Yeah, one sec. We're bang ulted. Safe on me.
Yeah, I'm going back.
正
I'm
方
going
に
back.
ここが安全だと。
Look at the zone. We just kill them when they have to come out.
Yeah,
I need to get my fucking kill, man.
下のチームよく耐えてるね。
Look at this,
あ
look at
ー、
this.
刺したので
Here, bats, guys.
一命を取り留めた。
Synergies.
あー、やばい。このアンチでそこに来ればやばいって。ダメよ、それ射撃訓練場
Well,
になっちゃうっ
Lions,
て。
they were very much at the top of the mountain, and they continue to reside here as well. They had a couple of things to think about in that listening. The two that are below them, Aurora, have held off very successfully as well, by the way. But they also made sure that the team that was skyward diving in did not take any space from them. Alliance know they're in one of the prime positions right now, but they still have to do a lot to execute, and Aurora are really making it a difficult time for them.
あ、オーロ
Honestly,
ラ
I
起
was
こした起こ
shocked
した
that
起こした。
Aurora was able to get
起こし
the
た。
res
リオから
on
しかもブッシュも落ちてる。
and come back. And as
で
I
かい
say
で
that,
かいで
they're
かい。オーロラ
also
でかす
able
ぎ
to
それ。
bring back Sunset, who they lost to the charge rifle forever ago. I thought
さあ
for
パイオニ
sure
アは
Aurora was going down.
ケラ倒したけども、一人ダウンした
Now, as we watch KCP, a team that's
や
going
ばい、
down.
玉来た。
We lost
フィニッシ
two
ュ。
down to just a solo. Danish is the one pushing in and clearing them
た
out. I
だ
mean, the fact
あー、グルースク
still
ダウンして
stuck
る
on
のか。
Aurora. The fact that Aurora has been able to survive this entire time under Alliance.
押せる
And
か
you saw how useful the smokes were in making that happen too.
And not only did Aurora survive, but they
Why?
also got back in as Alpha Draft gets his
Alpha
face
Draft
ripped
に
off his shoulders, and Alliance
ちょ
now
っと
can try and utilize this Kraber to really
うわ、今
push
決め
the
打ちだったね。
pace of this game
グ
by
レ投げ
getting
て
some
頭
knocks
出す
and
と予想
forcing
して
other
決め
people
打
to
ちした
fight, but they still hold the high ground,
その
and they still are in one of the best
その
positions to win this
ニューキャッスル
game.
の戦
5 squads
熱すぎ
remaining. Aurora underneath Alliance. Alliance are just
さあ、オーロラ
waiting and
も出て
hoping
かな
that
く
they
ちゃい
can
けない
shoot
けども
Aurora as they approach this final
ただ
circle. But the
Alliance の方が
fact
早
that
く出な
Aurora
きゃ
are
いけない。
now a 3 is
だからオーロ
huge
ラ
for
早
the
く潰し
chances
たい
of
んだよ。
winning
オー
this
ロラを
game.
早く潰して、
Alliance are going to have
オ
to
ー
make
ロ
a
ラがいる
decision
とこ
here
ろの
soon
前に
because
ニューキャッ
Yuki
スルの
only
盾
has
を張り
one
たい。
more
そしたらめちゃめ
shot
ちゃ強い。
left in the
ただオーロラがいる
Kraber.
からそこに立てると裏
They're
か
going
ら
to
撃た
need
れ
to
るからオ
utilize that
ーロラを
and give
潰
him
したいね、アライ
a
アンスと
different
しては。
gun so that they can
あ、
actually
なるほど
make
ね。
a
一旦
push
そこ
here.
飛んで、
They're
そこ
really
から
stuck
潰し
in
に
a
行
rough
く。
spot. They know they now have a full trio below them. The zone is collapsing in and they've managed to maintain height for so long.
まあでもいずれ撃たれるからね、我慢だな、アライアンスは。オーロラはいずれ撃たれるから、正面から。
Push up Phoenix Legacy finding themselves a little bit of a corner to stay
Wow.
alive in here, and this is where everything's going to pop off.
Yeah, the other teams on the western
Yeah,
side
Aurora-
should be in
Aurora
a
も我慢なん
position
だよ
where they
ね。いや、
can
た
watch
だ
the eastern fall as now
ナイスの
Aurora
ジャンプ。
will push
なんか
out.
す
They
げえ
are
ジャンプしなかった
below
今。
Alliance and will take the fight as well. Good shots they come out, but not good enough to stay up.
さあ、
as
アライアンスは
Aurora are
アライアン
still
スは
fighting tooth and
ダウン
nail.
したくない
Alliance also down to
ダウ
just
ンしたくない
Hackers
よ。
as Danish
あー、
now seem to be the
デニッシ
team
が
that are on
デ
top
ニッシ
here
が
and
ヘイ
should
ト
be
勝って
able
な
to
い。
close out this circle.
さあ、
I asked a
デニッ
question
シ
about
VS アライアン
Danish.
ス。
I said, where is the
デニッシが
Stormfront specialist that we've seen all season. Well, here is the answer right in front of you. They take match number 2 and they put themselves within a shout of still getting to regional finals.
フェニックスレガシー潰してたかな。
was
で
an
一番
impressive performance
平等化をね
from
端っこの位
Danish.
置を
They
取って
had
あ
to
落ちちゃった
make the push up from the lowest
過激な祝福です
position out of all of the teams and managed to survive all of that chaos. We saw the smokes down. We saw what
まあアライアンスがどれだけキルを
Crowning
伸
that
ば
they
せ
could
たか
work
なんだ
with.
けど、まあ
Alliance didn't drop down initially because they were being creeped by another side, and Aurora took full advantage of that. But shout out Bitfix Gaming again, 10 points on the board, 8 kills for them. They're playing very aggressive. You can tell that they really are pushing themselves here in possibly their last match day because they are still outside of those spots for regional finals, but they're giving themselves a darn good chance of getting there.
And this is something that I really love to see because it's definitely going to be putting some other teams in a rough position. Like you've already mentioned, Passion was the one closest to really being in that top 20 spot. And they have an opportunity to get...
Very interesting indeed. Like I mentioned, look at Aurora, right down at the bottom of the map at Shipfall, and then you have 5 leaders at Barometer. The fact that they've managed to traverse so far in those first 2 games, one of them picking up a win and one of them consistently putting big points on the board, it's got to be a worry for the rest of the lobby if we do see a zone pull down to the south.
Yeah, considering how dominant the northern side has been when it comes to drop locations, as soon as you start to see a difference and you start to see a southern circle coming into the equation, that's when stats start to get blown out of the water a little bit, and that's when it starts to open up for some of these teams who are putting themselves at a disadvantage by dropping at the southern side of the map. But as we've seen, some teams are still able to go against the grain like Aurora and make themselves have that possibility of still picking up points. Not victories, may I add, points. Match point is when things are going to really be hammered home on those statistics on who is winning from what POI, because in match point you need to be getting those W's.
I'm just looking at Aurora right now. I know I've been kind of following their story for the last couple of games and understandably for the season as well. They are going to have pretty good access to zone in comparison to what we saw previously anyway, but they've got a lot of information. You can see the splits drop across Gale Station and Shipfall, so they're going to have good loot, but also they have a survey beacon and they have a map room scan, so they're going to be able to not only know where the second zone is going to be pulling, which is looking towards Cascade Falls, but also they're going to be able to, if they want to delay a little bit, hit that map room on zone close and see where everyone else's rotations are going to be. That allows them to pick off maybe a couple of isolated fights, maybe it kind of formulates their path about how they want to try and get into this zone. So Aurora have a lot of information to work with in this zone.
We talk about Cascade Falls, E6 have that ring console as well, so they all know full well they are in one of the prime positions when it comes to where they want to position themselves. You saw that Eternal were also moving very quickly over towards Cascade Falls, as I imagine Maestro will be from the northern side. Danish are going to be moving faster than everyone though, because they say, well, you know what, on foot is not quick enough, into the Trident we go.
No Gibraltar's unfortunately today to throw the bubble down. Too much tweet yesterday.
I did.
Did you get the reference?
I did. Well, had to be explained, but yes, I did in the end.
You're old enough to have seen that Simpsons episode, though, right?
I am. Are you calling me old?
Designs the car.
Yeah, I think old enough is okay, because as long as you're not calling me old, we know you are older. Speaking of designs of the car, it looks like they are going to abandon said car right now because there was another team that was in the area. Horizon Union shooting from the high ground, and you can see it on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Horizon Union are currently tied first with Bitfix Gaming. They were the team I highlighted right at the start of the day because they were the benchmark team. They were holding one of these top 10 positions. And if they have a good day today here on set, they wouldn't be the benchmark team. They would be actually one of the teams who may already guarantee themselves playoffs by the end of the match day.
Horizon Union having a good day so far. Can they continue it though? We say a good day. I think there might have been a little bit of frustration after that game 1 and how it finished, but you will certainly take second place with the points that they did manage to get. But they're going to get the map room scan and they're going to have the info on where everybody else is. But also other teams, of course, are going to know that where they're coming from, having just hit that. So a little bit of decision making here for Horizon Union. They know this is going to be free and they know they're going to be able to play it. There is a team which is kind of trying to coexist just across the way, but not within the same building. So Horizon Union with a really smart rotation there, hitting the peeking over the waterfall and able to get a safe spot to play.
Safe spots are not always easy to find as well when people are moving across quickly, but sometimes you just have to say, well, we'll take one of the tier 2 locations at times. It's not going to be a guarantee on winning, it's not going to be one of the god spots, but it is going to keep you alive for quite some time and at least give you the amount of time to assess where you want to go next as well. You can see there's ETH Eternal. They did move very fast to find themselves in that little old building in Cascade Falls. And we've seen a few of these final circles. And I do remember E6 actually previously in a game week with a Kraber at Cascade Falls getting some dirty stuff done. So we'll have to see whether it happens again.
I remember Swinny. Yep. Split 1 playoffs doing exactly that. Peekaboo. As he was in a couple of crazy no-scopes, so you're going to have to hope that Kraber falls his way so he can recreate something like that. Certainly will be enjoying that if it does happen. We're seeing a little bit of a scuffle going down here between a couple of teams. This is just north of the, should I say, excuse me, this is just south of the wall. Zipline buildings being taken up just in front of the cannon. You can see one team is not looking too healthy at the moment. Is the team down low ground. Much healthier is going to be Vortex, all dressed in purple at the moment. And look at the attachments on that Prowler down. And the Nemesis. These guys are juiced.
Yeah, juiced up, but are Vortex going to be able to give themselves a real opportunity of getting closer towards playoffs? They were on the same amount of points as Horizon Union, and maybe I feel a little bit bad that I've not spoke about Vortex as much, because they are also the benchmark team, right? They have the same amount of points as Horizon Union, and they also have a real opportunity of making those playoffs, especially if they were to have a good performance today, because they had really incredible back-to-back performances over the last few match weeks. They won match week number 7, and they finished in 3rd yesterday in match day number 8. So now here in match day number 9, can they re-find that success? It seems like it's been a slow start in here in matches 1 and 2, but if they can maybe pick things up on World's Edge where they found more success previously, they really are going to be a threat moving forward.
Another team who's going to have a little bit of a different game is going to be Alliance. Of course, they've had 2 pretty good zones, you would say. Game number 1 certainly didn't go the way they would have wanted, but game 2 much more healthy. But this time they're going to have to make a bit of a rotation. And at the moment, it looks like they have the complete and utter east side of that zone to themselves. You can see them there just approaching Stormcatcher on the right-hand side of where that zone starts to shrink. GG right in the center of where that zone is going, but as we know, we have the beacon information, as do some of the teams, and we are going to be pulling a little bit further towards Cascade. Vortex, though, doing a little bit of damage to these rampart walls, but they can be so frustrating if you're trying to push a team and do some damage. Those walls are going to take some ammo away. It's going to certainly take a few moments before you get that pushed in.
Wouldn't surprise me if Alliance just wait at Stormcatcher as well to get that ring console information again for further ring information, but Vortex are consistently and constantly thinking about this fight, but eventually will back off, as they don't want to throw away their current position and instead will just be a little bit more patient. As we have seen quite a lot of patience throughout teams today, I know that there are a few that have been a little bit more risky and have gone for those crazy pushes. Bitfix Gaming would be one of the more prevalent of the few. The Keller Gaming were the team that was within this building that are just holding off and putting down any defensive possibilities just to keep that team away.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration maybe. It's
下からね、コマ線側から。
maybe than
おい、めっちゃ触れた。
push there, and I feel like the longer that you decide not to do it, the less likely it is, because other teams are going to start cohabiting. And moving in on the area in the third party is going to be more of a worry if you're going to make that push. But you know, you get an armor check. So probably got an armor check that one of them was on white or blues. You've got an RE45. You've got 3 purples. I feel like if that opportunity opens up early, it's one. We also talk about risk reward, right? The numbers are in your favor when it comes to percentages of winning that fight, and that's some KP, and also it means that you're going to have more space to play around on that.
Here's Bitfix Gaming making their rotation on the southern side. The first team they'd come across if they make their way into the southeast side of Cascade Falls would be the Gaming Gladiators. Now, it is a fight that BFG have already won so far today, and maybe they'll be able to do something similar here if they decide that's where they want to go. However, they could go for a further northern rotation and try and take the zip up and then come from the northern side, but they would also then be greeted by Alliance. So it seems like whichever path you take at the moment, you are going to have to take a fight if you're Bitfix Gaming.
Yeah, this is going to be a really wild end game. It is going to be pulling towards Cascade Falls. You can see the ring information on your screens on the right-hand side, and look at how many teams are already in and around that zone. No surprise to see 5 teams in Aurora taking their time, as they like to do, and just kind of creeping up and looking to pick the pieces off of those teams when the fights do break out. But it's going to be one of those games where you're going to see 20 squads alive for quite some time, but when we get to zone 3 and 4, it's going to get split in half pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be a kill feed that explodes, and a lot of teams that will lose 1 or 2 players, maybe be able to get 1 to stay alive, and then taking some individual 1v1s to try and actually take the fight. Speaking of taking fights, Bitfix knew they would have to battle someone here, and it looks like Alliance is going to be the 3v3 they are going to have to take.
Yeah, Cyril's going to go down as well. So both teams trying to wait that out to make sure they don't give that information away to the others. Smoke's also go down. One player just decided to get a little bit of aggressive here. Drops down from inside of the building for Alliance, and Bitfix are going to try and rotate off the back of that, but such a difficult, awkward fight for them. You can see that Alliance have that high ground. They have the angles, and also they've got that Newcastle wall down, which is just going to be such a nuisance to have to poke and prod between.
Whether Bitfix back off and try and take a different route here. They've been very aggressive today, and I've been impressed by their kind of switch of pace and changing things up a little bit, but you also have to recognize when you don't need to be aggressive, right? When you need to actually take a different angle, take a different route, and look at things in a different perspective, in a different way. And they've recognized that if they tried to take that fight with Alliance, it was just going to end up badly. There are still 20 squads remaining. They are likely going to be teams that are in the area to shoot you down if you take that fight for a third party as well. So instead, you need to try and go maybe for the southern route, which is not as easy a rotation, but it is certainly going to keep you alive for a little bit longer.
多分最終円のずっと上から取り続けるから、これアライアンス多分高順位高記録になるんじゃないかな。
Good amount of time. The only teams who are going to be behind them is potentially Aurora and maybe V2 if they make a rotation. Alliance might be able to sneak their way in towards Cascades as well. But speaking of Alliance, they are playing the waterfall and forcing a couple of teams away. Certainly going to get the armor checks, which will give them the information that they have the complete priority of that position. As a Kraber is going to be pinged as well. Now where's that going to land? 340 meters away from effect. Good news for the rest of the lobby, not so good news for Alliance.
I think one of the only things with Bitfix Gaming is they don't have that option to skyward dive out of dodge. They are one of only 2 teams in this lobby that are not playing Valkyrie, so it means they have to plan their rotations very differently as well. And yes, they can hold that building on the southeast side that you were talking about, but it's about where they go if that zone pulls away from them. Do they then feel like they're being held out? They have a comp that is ready to fight, so they want to take those fights. In a game like this where no one is fighting, suddenly things start to get a little bit more difficult, and they're going to really have to start thinking about that zone and how they're going to get there.
Sound a little bit like Tyson Fury there. You were saying the word fight so much. I'm going to fight.
I thought you were saying because I had a lisp. But
no.
Yuki が裏のカット。
Just sounded like,
ハキスが
a world
ハキス
champion.
は
That's what I'm
右
trying to
キャ
say.
ラじゃないんだけれども、ニューキャッスル
Maybe one day I
と
will.
最悪帰ってこれるっていうね。そういう強みを生かして
a video
前
game
線を張
or
って
a
ます
boxing
ね。
match. Who knows? I guess we'll find out as the
かな
years
り
go
背
on.
中の広い前線
Maybe it could be both. But Alliance,
デニッシュはどんどんどんどん、まあデニッシュのいつもいいね。どんどん
I
南
think
に行けるから。
that when you look at this zone and when you look at the amount of teams that are available,
円が
that you could potentially be fighting, you know that every corner you take, there could be a team that already resides there. So you have to be very confident in your calls and the positions that you are going to hold here. Otherwise, you're going to be made to pay. And this is always the scariest part of the game when you have to skyward dive and you have to try and find somewhere to call home.
Yeah, the good thing here for Alliance is they do have Newcastle, so Hackis might be thinking, wait a minute, they might have just faked this one out. They're trying to force this team down from the high ground and then pick them off. This is almost, if this works for Alliance, it might be a really high IQ play. Or if they get avoided, have they just burnt the Valkyrie? Very interesting decisions coming in from Alliance here.
High IQ プレー
They will get the castle wall down, and now they'll be able to get some shots down. So Alliance kind of maybe working out there's more teams in the vicinity. They may be able to pick up KP on before they move forward.
Yeah, also just demonstrating the incredible passive, of course, of the skyward dive, just being able to see where those players are and maybe giving you more information than you would have previously. Just look how close some of these teams are in Cascade Falls, and the fact that we've not seen not just any teams eliminated, we have not seen a single player be eliminated from this lobby so far. All 60 are living healthy and well, cohabiting in a lot of close spaces, and it is going to be very awkward when these circles start to close. Now, we've mentioned Bitfix Gaming a lot. We've also mentioned Aurora a lot. It looks like these two might clash.
戦闘主体同士の対決。ただオーロラ下回復が50削れてる分不利だね、さすがに。さあ、ビットフィクスは1を決定づけるキルポイントが来ました。
Unfortunately, they will fall here in the final game on Storm Point before we head to World's Edge.
強い
Not the game they
ね
would have wanted, especially with the zone being a little bit closer than they had previously.
Wow, Bitfix Gaming taking out some of the biggest and best teams in the lobby and really giving themselves an opportunity and a huge push to try and make regional finals here today. But it looks like the action's not over for them, but through the Catalyst wall, Trix still shredding with the Nemesis and the R99.
Snaps onto Yulu as well, and now he's going to be able to do even more damage. One player's trying to flank, but he should be able to get a pretty comfortable armor swap here. One player to deal with, and V2 will be eliminated as well. And Bitfix Gaming, let me tell you, they have turned up to play today. A huge amount of points already, and look at the KP. They've got 5 to their name, and they still have this side of the zone all to themselves.
They really are giving themselves that option of being relegation candidates to suddenly regional finalists, if not more, with how many points they could potentially put on. They could get themselves within the chance of even thinking about playoffs. I know that is very much, it would be a miraculous result if they were to go back-to-back in winning today and in match point format in regional finals, but still doable as BFG, they're still on this train as GG are the next in their way.
GG not looking healthy either. That Zero will
線がな通ることにはもうどうにもできないんだよな。気休めにしかならない。全ては来られないけど車線通ってるから。
It's looking rough for them at the moment, trying to exchange fire, but you can see that you feel this is just a matter of time. If another team has a little peek at them, then GG might be struggling here.
GG maybe will be lucky that no one really is going to be in the area to take the fight. The actual closest team is Fire Beavers, and Fire Beavers have lost 2, but look at the kill feed. Everyone now starting to lose a player or 2. As Bitfix Gaming were getting the job done, Maestro also taking down members of Horizon, and GG, it looks like the writing is on the wall, or maybe the writing is on the rock at this point, as the last player gets absolutely obliterated, and they will fall.
GG fall, Fire Beavers as a 2. I mean, you saw what they did as a 1 earlier before the 2 teammates came down swinging in game number 1 to win that one. And Bitfix Gaming continue their warpath at the moment. 7 kills now for them, 17 squads remaining. And it seems like every time we've seen them on our screen, it's been them doing the damage. In the kill feed, though, you saw Nasky a few moments ago for KCP. He had that Kramer in his hand. He started to put it to work a little bit. Noises went down, but no finishes come in.
So impressed with how Bitfix have played this one, by the way. They retreated from the initial fight with Alliance, they moved down south, and then they took advantage of teams who were just trying to hold on the edge. As a fighting composition, as a fighting team, Bitfix have to play with this confidence, and that's exactly what they've shown today. I don't think certain teams were ready to be pushed like they've been pushed by this BFG roster, and now because of that, they own this southeast side of the map. Yes, they're going to have to move. Look at where that circle's going, by the way. It's going to be so difficult for pretty much every team to get there. There isn't even one squad in that final circle at the moment, but of course people are going to have to move as Jailings get eliminated.
Yeah, Jailings eliminated. There is a war inside of Cascade Falls at the moment, and Bitfix Gaming are just looking to pick up the pieces at the moment. Team trying to rotate in, they get 1 knock onto Fire Beavers as well, and just at the right time we have the opportunity to jump into a listening with Bitfix Gaming, who have looked exceptional so far in this game.
なんか使うようになってるけどさ、めっちゃ一生懸命練習してたフラットラインがバカみたいだったんだけど、余裕でフラットラインより強い。あんなに練習した。
60 walk, 60 walk. Look at scan.
I'm landing back here. I'm soaking you, CJ.
I'm fine.
Crack them.
Walk low.
Yeah.
Action.
Behind you, on the left, on the head glitch.
I'm gonna kill this Valk.
Yeah, kill them.
I'm betting, guys. I'm betting. Play life. We're getting flanked.
Valk's 1.
Yeah.
I'm selling.
I'm on Q. We have to hold left.
Q 食らった。
I'm playing drop. Play on me, guys. Play me.
ここで
Here.
プレイオンミー。あーやられちゃった。プレイオンミー間に合わず。
Yeah. Come to me if you can.
車線がすごい。ただ今日のビットフィックスは先頭が乗りに乗ってるから耐えれるか？
No. You have to kill this if you wanna res me.
I don't see anything. No, did you?
They're on there.
ただ木が1個溜まってるよ。
We should turn
キルバー
that.
入っちゃった。
We should.
Try and get into the building.
I gotta kill.
Nice play.
あ、これあったかい場所見つかった？
I need DJ, baby.
Get one.
ただアーマーじゃねえよ。
We're getting
Play small, don't take damage.
I'm gonna arc.
バナーを取れてるから起こすつもりはないね。もう耐えるしかない。
Bad arc.
ただハーマースタップ無限にある。大きい貝たくさんあるよ。
Yeah, we're getting speaked by 2 teams. Swinging you.
Nice.
Good hold.
いいね。無限にアーマーさ覚えておいてね。何からどっからアーマースタップしたか覚えておいて。
I have no smoke. I'm selling. Nade
Might be
again,
able to
bro.
play in that corner above.
アークさんが避ける。
On the rock. We're dead.
Can you play me?
Yeah, where Zeri is good. It's
上
good.
からも後ろからも。
Just watch out for that
I'm just dead.
LOS.
I'm cancelled. I'm just dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah, Zeri, just sit right there so that kid on the left can't see you.
Yeah, just play rap.
あ、やばれてる。痛い。
So Bitfix Gaming is surviving, but just by the skin of their teeth here, Dan, and every placement point they manage to get from this will multiply those KP. They're going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, the frustration I think every Apex player has ever experienced as well when it is just absolute chaos in one of these later circles. It seems like everyone has eyes on you and everyone has utility. The amount of arc stars I just saw was enough to feed me for the day, but now BFG are still alive and the circle is closing. All these teams who are so close to one another are going to be forced out at some point as Maestro shutting through Rugby with some great damage.
この混雑した家の一番屋上に一人でエフェクト佇んでます。マイスもぐっちゃぐちゃ、もう目おかしくなっちゃう。目おかしくなっちゃうこれ。皆さん大丈夫ですか？目おかしくなってない？なんで勝てんの？さあアライアンス城を築く。
are the ones who need to perform when they see the likes of Bitfix performing like this as well. But Alliance in the final circle yet again, and they've got the Newcastle to all work with, and they've got the Digi threat in the RE45. It blitzes through the smoke. As KCP, they're getting damage done. They're getting knocked at the same time. It seems like all of these teams that are down low are just fodder for Alliance.
6キルマジでこいつ今キルリーダーじゃないかなヨーロッパ全体の。いやーなんかいろいろ落ちてきた。いやーニューキャッスル
Newcastle can of course revive with an extra little bit of a shield effect. Comes back up and now Akis didn't do the damage. Has to work with the shield, does not work. Alliance will fall as now KCP, they managed to do some damage. They managed to get the final little bits of damage onto the players, and Dynasty were the ones who came in to clean things up as Naski, the last remaining player from KCP, as everything slows down ever so slightly, but 4 squads still remain.
Also that building looks like just a collection of Lego bricks. The amount of death boxes that's there, you certainly don't want to step on that one if you're one of these players in the lobby. And Dynasty get back up to a full 3. Should be some armor swaps still if they didn't all get used up as well. But look at Naski. They were trapped inside of that building. And Naski's managed to just sneak away. And I wonder if he's still got a couple of Kraber shots left. But it looks like Dynasty have sniffed him out. Naski's going to get the push. Can he hit a miracle shot? No, unfortunately not for KCP.
No miracle shot to make any sort of miraculous last-ditch effort in this final circle. 3 teams remaining, but only 2 are healthy. Heroes have only got 2 remaining players, excuse me. Looks very different on my overhead, but now we're going to see whether Dynasty can do a job from this angle, from the northeast side of this circle, as they're going to be able to push in.
140 isn't a knock. Heroes have been eliminated though, and we are down to a shootout between our final 2 teams. It's Phoenix Legacy on one side, Dynasty on the other. One shot with the Kraber here. And can completely change who we call a champion.
And Phoenix Legacy, another team that would have seen what Bitfix Gaming were doing and know full well they had to perform here as we go forward into more match days and more matches as Dynasty missed the first shot.
Missed that shot, and Sabs is going to rip one player down with that scout. And now Dynasty starts to fall over a little bit like wet paper. It's going to be Phoenix Legacy. Alpha Jar flies in. It's getting a little bit scary. It's getting a little bit wobbly, but Phoenix Legacy do manage to convert, and they will be the winners.
ドラフト初動かぶりからのザコあさりからのチャンピオンめちゃめちゃ安定してる。
Who was going to be ones who may pay for Bitfix Gaming playing in that way? Maestro, Danish.
はい。
Big differential.
フェニックスレガシーね。6キル18ポイント。デニッシュはなぜかあそこ一人で生き残りました。アライアンスがいやこれ9キル中6キルエフェクトでしょ。エフェクトまでピットフィックスも戦闘頑張ったね。で合計見してビットフィックスが1今ので多分逆転したね。ビットフィックスでアライアンス30。思ったより接戦だな。思ったより接戦だったわ。まばらに点数取ってるみんな。いやあれはフェニックスはすごい頑張ってんね。アサリ的には J リングの方が広くはされてるんだけど速いムーブの方が有利なのか。じゃあワールドエッジ行ってみよう。構成がね変わる可能性があります。
They have been so strong the entire they are
if they can pick up that win, but we can see the teams, they're all on the map right now. Everybody's found a home. Have to see if there's any contest going down, but first zone is always going to be interesting for us to have a look at. And there might be a little bit of a contest going down between Maestro and Passion here. A very, very interesting engagement to start this off.
This will be make or break for Passion at this point. I feel like I'm already lost a player. Nice shot with the Sentinel there. Out of Horizon though, trying to poke. At this point, they should be looking for a reset. It is too much to risk going down this early in match number 4 when they need every single point that they can get.
A little bit of a crack coming in. You can see the pick rate of some of the legends as well. The top Valkyrie right up there. 90% of the teams are going to be running Valkyrie. Seer, no surprise, 65%. Maestro looking to clean up on the damage they've done. They did get that first knock. Rugby's taking a little bit of damage and maybe a 1v1 doesn't want to take. It's going to be interesting to see how how these two teams engage. Are Maestro going to try and chase down these KP, or are they just going to let them get away and continue on their loop path? Because you've got to remember, whenever you see a contest, the longer this goes on, the more time it's taking out of your rotation, your plan going into this game.
And with the performances that we've seen out of Maestro so far, they started off strong, little bit of a yo-yo here, and they've got themselves now a good start to match number 4. They don't want to risk anything if they don't have to, only because with the performances of the teams that were technically below them in the top 20, they'd rather play it safe. They were the team coming in 18th, and they don't want to have to risk any of those points. Look
at the zone as well. It's looking like it's going to be pulling towards countdown, but maybe out towards the drill tower. Landslide going to have a really good access and priority to that. You've got BFG, Big Fix Gaming, landing over at countdown, so what a zone this could be for them. It could be a massive opportunity that don't come along too often to solidify your spot at the top of the leaderboards. With the zone going your way on World's Edge, it's what you dream of.
Not only that, but KCP obviously in a really nice position as well, and this is the zone we've seen them win in previous weeks of ALGS as well, so they could be setting themselves up for a nice dub on the day. And they wouldn't be mad about those points. It'll be interesting to see how everything is handled as teams start making these rotations in. We're seeing a lot of squads trying to find some position. Maestro, after having gotten that 1 kill early on, now sitting back and here getting themselves looted up before they go on this rotation. Now you can see what I'm talking about here. As the teams have started to push in, you can see them coming in from the eastern side of the map, and at least just getting themselves into the next zone.
It's just going to be interesting to see where certain teams are playing, and I think Phoenix Legacy gives a really good indication of where the zone's going to be going. They dropped over at Landslide, they have that survey beacon, so they're going to have zone 2 information. It looks like we're going towards Lava Fisher, and like you mentioned, KCP are going to have priority on that zone. Plus, they had not only zone information, but they also have map room scans, so they can get every single location of the teams who are going to be rotating in. Will they hit it now? I would suggest so before it gets too congested, but Aurora making their way towards Harvester as well, from Harvester, excuse me, in towards Countdown. Heroes not having a comfortable time in things though, as they're taking some damage.
And this is the last thing that Heroes needs right now. They're down to a duo and trying to see if they can make it out of here against Nightmare, another squad that was towards the bottom of our leaderboard and could really use some points or play Spoiler Road. That's something we mentioned earlier. Really nice shots coming out of FFX, but down to the
上振りしたけど、うわーマジ本当に上振りした。びっくりした。そのつもりはなかった。
2v3 turns into a 1v3. FFX. I mean,
19でワンマがしたとウィングマン。
Enjoy it, everybody. Enjoy it. They're the moment to live for. As an Apex Legends fan and player, he just saved his team. Heroes. That's a highlight play for me.
That not only saved himself, the team, but their points as well. That was massive for Heroes, also giving them a little bit of loot and opportunity to reset and hopefully breathe after that, because that was a little chaotic. But Aurora potentially smelling a little bit of blood in the water here, pushing in.
Yeah, that should be okay though. The fight that took place was over at launch site. This is inside a countdown at the moment, so Aurora are going to be set up for the long game, you would imagine. Though, would you see the zone maybe starting to pull a little bit away from where we originally thought it was going to go? But Jailings and Fire Beavers having an engagement here. Looks like Fire Beavers might have a little bit of an advantage, excuse me. Looking at that kill feed, Noises has been finished, so Nag's left on his own. And it's such a tough rotation. Overlook is where Jailings do land, so they have to make the trip all the way over from the eastern side to the western side. And when you've got Fire Beavers playing up on that high ground, coming from Fragment, it's such a tough team to have to run through. And Fire Beavers, they're just kind of waiting for the prey. They're setting the bait and saying, hey, we want the KP.
特に世界大会が決まってるからといって、
KP options around them as well. They still have a couple teams right on the northern side of this zone that they can just kind of poke at and really be a thorn in the side of right now and potentially get some more points on the board. They're quite comfortable here, not really needing to do a whole lot, as everyone will just come to them unless they decide to make a much longer and wider rotation to get away from Fire Beavers right now. And this is a comfortable spot for them. They don't have to do a whole lot of work to put themselves in a good position.
They also know there's multiple teams around them as well. You saw that map room scan come in. That gives them the information that it's not just Jailings they have to deal with, that there might be more. But the way that Fire Beavers will see it is that there's another team for us to kill around here. Knowing that we've got good armor, knowing that we've got good weapons, we're more than happy to take those fights. But Jailings not going to want to take any fights. Nag's left on his own. He's not going to be able to pick that banner up from Noises as well. JMW already expired, so Jailings is going to be a quiet quiet game number 4 you would expect.
At least Nags is able to escape and hopefully find a little bit of safety here, but you do see Vortex behind Nags in a little potential bit of pursuit, getting the bats off here for a reset, and deciding to go with that safer rotation as well, getting away from the Fire Beavers area, not wanting to deal with anything that they heard happening around them, and going down in the same fashion that Jaylings did. This is going to be a rough spot for Nags. Vortex spots out on the Valk rotate and gets the shield crack. Nags able to just barely escape with his life.
And Nags is like, can we not? Can we just can we not have everybody chasing me around the map? Like, what do you expect me to do? I know I'm Nags. You know what I mean? I know you want to kill me. I know I could probably kill your whole team if you're not looking at me with a one clip. But Vortex going to take to the skies. They don't secure the KP. And now, how much is that going to cost them? Trying to pick up that one kill. Now they have to completely retreat. They've burned through the ultimate. And they've got to be extremely careful because who is chasing them? Who's inside a fragment?
That's rough. Vortex is going to find themselves potentially between two teams here. Fire Beaver is obviously right in front of them, and you can see just how low Bushi was here. Vortex getting a reset, now having to decide which is going to be the safest path through Fragment, though, and I don't really know that they have any good options.
Why do I feel like a Vushi is like something that you buy for shopping channel? You know what I mean? Like the Vushi, it's like a small vacuum cleaner you'd use in your car.
Oh, you know I can see that. Yeah, actually, I get that.
Hey, somebody write that down. That's a $1 million idea, by the way. You can have that one for free. But looking at the rotation here, they did burn through that Valkyrie ult, which means they're going to have to be forced to kind of traverse by foot. Whereas Fire Beavers are still in the vicinity. They're still on the triple stack building, although it looks like they're going to take a slightly different path away. So Vortex should be able to go through the train tunnel pretty much uncontested towards Landslide. Elsewhere, there's a fight going down, or should I say, Nags has managed to escape and might be trying to avoid a fight in Harvester. It looks like he might have managed to do so. Hero's going to take a little bit of time to craft, get some extra meds, as the zone is going to be closing behind them. Nags, 99% on the Valkyrie. You going to hit it, brother? Looks like he's going to hold on to it for now.
Probably doesn't want to draw too much attention to himself, unsure of exactly how many people are in the Harvester area right now. We'll have to see how long Nags can manage to rat for, because this is going to be a little bit of a tough situation, whether it's on these rotations or finding any sort of a usable space once we get down to those smaller circles. So far, though, has timed his rotation perfectly, that every time he shows up somewhere, it's right after somebody else has left.
Yeah, this is when I'm playing Apex and I'm left in this kind of situation, and I know there's 19 teams remaining. I kind of put the playlist on, you know what I mean? Get a little bit of sad music going in the ears, and then if I hear something, I'm like, all right, okay, pause. Let's get back into this game. Let's pay attention. Obviously, Nags ain't going to be doing that. He wants to have every single audio key that he can hear in the world to try and survive, and he's going to be safe for now underneath this structure, just inside a staging, so he'll be able to survive for a little bit. 19 squads still remaining, like we mentioned, but Maestro looking to cut that field down.
And Maestro right in the path of Nags as well, so Nags will know that there's a fight happening. He's going to try to avoid that if possible, while Maestro are focused on the squad above them. I believe they were poking at Eternal, who's also decided to back off. Maestro not really wanting to deal with that right now, and Nags just trying to avoid everyone hiding underneath the tracks, like you said, right outside of staging, and trying to see what he can do with the zone. He probably also needs to wait and see where he has to rotate to next, because he won't have the information he needs as far as continuing his rotation. So for now, he's going to play it safe.
Yeah, the map overhead gives us a lot of info, though. Those teams who bet early on where that zone is going to be going, the likes of Phoenix Legacy, like I mentioned, KCP, they all thought it was pulling towards Lava Fissure. They are going to be disappointed to find out it's not. It's going towards Countdown, and that's where Aurora find themselves bang in the center of. Alliance are going to be safe on the outside of it as well. You can see they're going to be outside of the POI itself, but able to hold out all of the teams who are going to move in from the southern side. So KP potentially available for Alliance if they can hit their shots, but Maestro are going to have a very rough time. They're moving through zone, and they've just been hit with the CQ as well. The information is going to be given, and now Maestro with round 2 closing. The round 3 is going to burn extremely hard. I don't know what their med situation is like, but I mean, you're hitting syringes this early. It's going to have to hope that there's going to be something in the backpack to keep them alive.
They decide it's not worth it to continue that push in. It's actually Heroes who gate kept them out of that area. And now Maestro are in a bit of a rough spot, running into another team also in the red right now, and potentially going to be forced to fight, or at least now back off and hide. And like you said, we need to figure out where they're at when it comes to their meds and how they have, or what they have opportunity-wise to rotate. They at least do have Valk as an option for Kella here to get out, who's the team across from Maestro. And no one really wants to force this if they don't have to.
Yeah, Kella, we saw them crafting inside a Harvester, so they're going to be much more comfortable. This was a planned rotation for them. You saw Maestro just about managed to make it into the Vault Tunnel. But it is looking to just about make it out of the game, though. Nasky with the ultimate just firing blind through the Dark Veil. Fine is eliminated. And it's Inferno who takes them down. They do lose one player on their way to doing so, and they might lose two as Bambino is desperately trying to escape. He goes down. Josh is all, excuse me, Dogs is all up to you. Can you survive? Aurora overextend from that building they've been holding down for so long inside a countdown. They sniff out the third party opportunity. Perfect play for them, picking up some extra KP.
Thermal out. Vortex was also kind of out there in the open, doing some poke damage in the middle of that fight. This is a fantastic spot to set up here for Aurora to hold things down. They've got really nice lines of sight on everyone in the general vicinity, so they can kind of do as much damage as they want and get their shields at least evoed up, possibly to red before they have to force anything. And I'm also keeping my eyes on the map to see who might be rotating in towards the area that Aurora's in as well. I think Nags is probably still ratting on the edge, while Aurora tries to see if anybody else is making a late rotation into where they can see.
Yeah, Aurora, the great thing for them there, that third party, it just, again, you look at the compositions, what does a legend bring you? Wraith is going to allow you to anchor a position down, but still overextend and be able to get back immediately if the fight doesn't go right for you. So they didn't ever give up that position that they had. They were never afraid of a team moving in behind them. One player stays to anchor, and you saw them overextend to pick up some KP. B2 though, it's been a rough day for them so far. They need to win this fight if they want to have an opportunity to continue having a chance at qualification for that LAN event, to force their way into a regional final spot and find themselves on the cusp of qualification. They take down E6, which is always a good thing to do. They will survive for now. We're down to 15 squads.
That was a huge win in that fight for V2. Now another team that needs more huge wins themselves. We got Heroes as they find themselves on the low ground, trying to push to these rampart walls and see if they can clear this team out. They don't have to deal with another team on the low ground with them here. They're still relatively healthy as they're able to make the push in and just melt. Kella Gaming, this is a huge amount of loot for Heroes as well. Now they've got a solid spot that they can hold.
Should be able to reset pretty comfortably, but look who's on the other side of this zone, and the zone is pulling towards Fire Beavers as well. Everyone inside of Countdown is going to have to leave and move into the point of view and the guns and the sights of Fire Beavers. This could be a huge game for them. They've already got 4 kills to their name, and with everybody else having to leave, he wouldn't expect it to go anything but double with the way they've been playing so far. GG, quiet so far, but World's Edge is where they've had success previously.
Dynasty, though, a team that I had mentioned after the last match as well, they had a very strong performance, and they are one of those teams that if they continue to play that way, could be getting themselves into the top 20. So this is a fight that they're going to want to win against GG if possible.
GG have got Alliance over the top of them, though. They're pinched at the moment. This is not looking good for GG. They're just getting shredded from all directions. The Zero is burned. They're just trying to survive. They're trying to find a way to extend the game, but it's not going to happen. Artico gets taken down. The Dark Veil goes down. Alliance dropped down to try and do a little bit of work, and Alliance might have just given a game away here, but it looks like Effect managed to escape. A couple of shots came in, and even though Dynasty were doing a lot of damage there, it looks like Alliance actually got some of that KP.
You know, Dynasty will take it, at least clearing one of those teams out ahead of them, giving them at least the placement points. They did a really good job dealing damage to Alliance, but played it super safe, backing off the second they felt like it wasn't 100% in their favor. They're really playing conservatively here. Also, that allows Alliance, though, to drop down, get loads of loot and a reset for themselves here, maintaining a really solid position as well. You've got Yuki. A little bit of Overwatch duty, checking in on the rest of the team down below as they're looting. And they know where a lot of teams around them are. They're probably going to keep at least Dynasty in their sights for now, knowing that they don't want to get caught out from behind. Instead, go for that rotate. Getting out of the area entirely and getting somewhere safe in the zone.
アンチ中は空いてる可能性は高い。しかも平地でも一旦立て直せるのがニューキャッスルの強み。ちょっとでも遮蔽があればプラスニューキャッスルで素晴らしい。角度大事。いや、なるほど、そこ取りに行くのね。ニューキャッスルだからこそ守りきれる。なんで裏側はキャッスルボールじゃない。モバイルシールド。
これで実質
ただあれが切れてからだよね。
I mean, honestly, Hackett has been saving some of their plays with these Newcastle moments that we saw even in the last match as well. So Alliance looking very strong now as we see the Arc Stars come out. Great shots coming out of Effectus now. They push up into this one hallway and just absolutely melting.
Just send him in.
あらやうやウィングマン強いエフェクト。
Just send in effect.
皆さんこれはプロだから強いのであって我々が使ってもこんなにはなりません。気をつけてください。ニューキャッスルボール強い。
It does so much damage in that fight. Alliance come out on top. It looked like they're going to be able to get the reset as well, and they cleared the bottom of this tunnel. So now they don't have to worry about their back. Other teams on top of them, Aurora. We've seen them here for quite some time now, trying to force their way now from the edge of zone in towards a more central position. The teams who find themselves in those central positions, Maestro, Fire Beavers, Bitfix Gaming eliminated. But once again, Lauren, another top 8
基本エ
performance
フェク
for
トが
them.
1.5 人倒すし。で漁夫に対してはすぐニューキャッスルで起こせる
Aurora
から
has
立
been
て
able to
直せ
hold
る
this
し。
position for quite some time, and they've been able to let everybody below them kind of battle it out for that one tunnel of space, which has become quite a graveyard now that Alliance will be holding down. You can see Maestro there on the outskirts. Heroes just trying to stay alive long enough to get themselves some more points on the board. Everyone
さあア
at
ラ
this
イアンス
point
は自分たちの
has
後ろ側
time to
怖
reset.
い
You see
後
Fire
ろ側
Beavers
は
waiting
フ
for
ァ
an
イトでちゃんと
opportunity to
取り切っ
strike
たの
on
で
the
広く取れ
outskirts,
るね
but this final zone shrinking down is going to cause so many problems for these teams because there is not a lot of
さあ
safe
ファイアビーバーズ
playable
は
area.
東側からずっと
Not a huge amount of
西
it,
に
and
移
a lot
動
of
して
it's
って
controlled by
特
Fire
に抵
Beavers.
抗
You
も
can
買
see
わ
they're
ず
spread out. They've got a lot of head glitches to play. They're right in the center of the zone too. A lot of crossfire can be put down by Fire Beavers. It's all about the communication for them. And if you've gone into any of their
オーロ
listening
ラ
to
が上
watch
まあ
their
ここは
videos
ちょっと
back
や
and
り
forth
ああ
on
ワン
the
ピック
YouTube
取られ
channel,
た
you
ネ
know
ミス
that
じゃ
there's
ない
a
な
lot
救
of
急で
passion
す
in those three gentlemen, excuse me.
Sa
And they certainly be
Aurora
screaming
Reis,
and barking
Reis
the call-outs.
使ってる
But here's another
こ
play
こで
from
レイス
Archers on the Wraith. Last time it was an overextension to
うわ
try and
た
find
だ
a
それは
spot
きついね
to pick up third parties. This time it's to get
こ
them
っ
out
ち
of
にもいたね
trouble. But there's effect again, mowing people down as they try and leave.
ニューキャッスルの連動高そこの
Alliance have made a
キャッス
really
ルロール
nice
熱
shift
す
here
ぎ
to
で
a
しょ
better position as they know that
あー
everyone's
キルポ
going
全
to
部
be
取れちゃう
forced to be making
あー
their
キルポ
pushes
全部取れちゃ
out
う
into the open now, and it allows them
ま
an
ずい
opportunity to clean up loads
キル
of
ポいっ
KP
ぱい取
or
れちゃ
at
う
least put themselves in a safe position to watch across the way and
さあ
know where everybody
右
else
いや
is.
右
Maestro
はエ
though
フェクトが見
kind
て
of
ま
peek
す
them on the other side,
右
keep
は
them
隙
on
間
their
が通る
toes
が
as
だがエフェ
heroes
クトが
do go down, and Alliance are just trying to survive here with these walls.
4 teams remaining. We saw V2 go down. We saw Bitfix go down. Aurora, Danish now eliminated. 3 squads remaining. It's going to be Alliance, Fire Beavers, and Maestro as our final 3 as they dance their way towards victory here. Fire Beavers still in complete control of
守
the
れて
zone
る
though.
しまたニューキャッス
Maestro
ル
look like
で
they might be trying to make a play
盾を
up onto
築ける
Alliance, but Alliance have the height on them. They might be able to just catch them off guard. The question is, do Alliance try and play for second? Do Maestro
地
try
味
and play
に
for
じわ
second?
じわ
Because
と
Fire
ニュー
Beavers
キャッスル
certainly
メ
have
タ
the
ーな
most
んじゃない
control.
かな
Oh, this is a tough spot for Alliance.
頑
There
張れお
is
父さんもアライアン
Maestro's
ス
in
も
a
ニュ
little
ー
bit
キャ
of
ッ
a
スルってめ
2-1
ちゃめちゃ
split.
強いんだよな毎
They
回
had one down by the rock, as you can see. You've got the other 2 closer to Alliance, so it
だ
could be an
連動がやっぱ
opportunity
必
for
要
them
だ
to
から
push
増え
down.
ないんだ
Fire
ろう
Beavers
な
have now gathered back up as a 3 and are looking the
アライ
way
アンスが
with
頑張れお
this
父
charge
さんも
rifle being
get the
extra
rest.
annoying. This is not what they
いや
want for
勝
Alliance.
て
They might get it though.
硬すぎる
There's Newcastle
頑
once
張れお
again.
父さんも
And
ニュー
at
キャッ
one
スル
point,
も
you know,
マジ
one
で
back
ト
on
ッ
his
プ
feet
クラ
is
スのファイ
effective.
ト
And
力
I'm
があ
pretty
る
sure
か
they
ら
just got it back up. Yes, they did indeed.
強いんだよな
Showing
ニューキャッスル構成で
the value that Newcastle bring to your squad in these kind of situations,
a
dragging his
Maestro.
teammate towards him, getting him back on his feet.
マエスト
And now
ロ
Effect could go to work once more. Another castle wall goes
Fire
down.
Beavers
Maestro,
Alliance.
having done the damage onto Alliance, having got that knock, I've now got to do it all again.
さあアライアンス一旦ハキス一人で
You can see just how
盾
spread
を
out
築き
Alliance is
で
right
できるだけ
now.
勇
Yuki in
気
the
とエ
back
フェクト
trying to
で
get some heals
広く
up
取っ
as
て
Alliance focuses on
フ
Maestro.
ァイアビバ
Fire
ーズと
Beavers
マ
are
エストロを
pretty
当てよう
content
という
right
そう
now.
いう
They're
作
just
戦だ
kind of
ね
wait it
マエ
out
ストロデュ
and
オか
keep their eyes on Yuki as they know that he's the
あ
solo
起こす
over
起こす
there.
んだ
Fire Beavers are in such a solid position behind this rock. Yuki's forced to try and get into a better spot with the rest of his team and takes a lot of damage for it.
Takes a lot of damage, but Hackett has got that shield. He's going to be moving it forward as well to try and get some angles onto Fire Beavers.
でもエフェクト取りに行った。いやマジでやばいエフェクト。
Exchange some fire against each other to stop focusing them, and Effect is going to get a knock this time onto Tax, and now that is going to open the doors here for Alliance to focus fire onto Fire Beavers. But can they win the fight? That's the question. Yuki gets one, but Hackett has fallen.
ただそれは倒した。
Oh, that was so impressive.
いやニューキャッスル倒したのでか。分かんなかった。2対2対2対2対2だじゃない ?2×3、2×3。あ、ファイアビーバーズが落ちた。2対2。さあ、キャッスルホールとコンテナどっちが強い？キャッスルホールとコンテナどっちが強いんだ？キャッスルホールの方が長く残りそう。さあ、ユキが早めに車線を広げた。エフェクト強い。エフェクトは味方のニューキャッスルの車線を使うと。うまい。ニューキャッスルが死んでも勝てますと。
Alliance to a victory here, but every single player had their
ちょっとエフェ
moments
ク
in
ト
that
先輩が
endgame. Yuki
や
holding
りすぎ
off
てます
Fire
ね、エフェ
Beavers
クト
as
先
the
輩。
anchor. But that's
何キルですか？6キルですって2000あエフェクトさんってインファイトしかしてない人なんですがおかしいな。アライアンス12キル。待って、アライアンス強いぞ。やばいぞ。54ポイント。ちょっとアライアンスが引き伸ばしたね。これ1位突破の総合1位あるぞ。仕上がってるなアライアンス。さあでは第5試合見ていきましょう。喜んでるミキが。
That means that we will get into game very quickly because obviously all the delays were caused by Glitter Explosion because we could say that and she can't retaliate right now, but I will get told off for it later. But we are into match number 5 and as I was alluding to before the break, things are looking a little bit spicy down in those regional final spots when it comes to 20th and the surrounding areas, so it is very much crunch time now as we go into the last 2 remaining games.
Yeah, 2 remaining games. It could be the last 2 remaining games of some of these teams' season overall. The split will be over for them if they don't make that regional finals. At the top of the table, though, we mentioned how the battle is going down between the likes of Alliance and, of course, Vex for the overall leaderboards. Well, Passion. Oh, dear, Dan. Passion out. Pioneers, I think they just landed on them.
Well, that is the worst possible outcome for Passion, but the best possible outcome for the likes of Bitfix Gaming, who are looking to try and push themselves into the top 20. As I said, as it stands, Bitfix would be in the top 20, and Passion would drop out, despite the fact that Passion were only 1 point off 20th coming into this. There's the circle, though, after, well, joining it, what is the hottest moment we possibly could have on the map. We now get to see where the circle is going to be going. And we're going to be heading southwest down towards the likes of Thermal, Harvester are going to be available. And of course, those teams dropping over towards staging like Maestro are going to be in a really good spot as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody at home, but I'm pretty sure that staging was the plan for Passion. They probably tried to take Mirage as the 3. And KCP saw that because they were a little bit homeless and just thought, hey, we're going to triple drop here. We're going to get the kills and we're going to put ourselves in a great position because only Naski at the moment is over at Lava Fisher. He's already headed his way over to get a little bit of info. And speaking of info, they've only gone and got a ring console and a little bit of a map room scan to work with. But you're quite right. Looking at where that circle is going to be going, down towards Thermal Station, Effect and Co. Sorry, Hackers, by the way. I'm just like the biggest Effect fanboy right now after how he's been playing in the previous games. And I'm going to be honest, everyone at home, you think it's weird? Watch his gameplay. Come up with some valid arguments why I shouldn't be fanboying him right now.
Maybe we'll be able to set up a little one-on-one for you. When Alliance get to LAN, you and Effect can sit down and discuss just how much of a fanboy you are. Maybe you could paint a picture. I've heard that's...
Maybe it's just as much as a fan of me.
Maybe. Your damage output is pretty similar as well in our games.
Friends. That's what I'm going to just start saying now.
That's what we're best friends. You're one of those guys. Okay, sorry Effect about him. We can make sure we go to the court if we need to. But
why are you saying sorry? He's my best friend.
I will say that Alliance were incredible in that previous game, right? And if they can play even remotely close to that, from now an ideal position, because they dropped from the southwest, they could be in a spot to maybe go back-to-back here, at least pick up incredible amounts of points back-to-back, and really push themselves for being the top team going into those regional finals.
Yeah, good zone for Aurora as well, who had a little bit of a quiet game in the last one. They did pick up some KP, and you did see them in a pretty good position on the leaderboards and perfect timing on the switch as Aurora are going to pick up some more KP. It's going to be Maestro who are feeling the pain of this scout, my word. I don't know what it is about the way that Cleve is shooting that thing, but it seemed to hit harder than any other scout I've seen before. It was just blasting away his shields. And Maestro really struggling now. Down to just 2. Easy KP here for Aurora.
Staging in the surrounding areas does seem to be one of these positions. When you move over to Harvester and you find yourself in that middle of nowhere scenario, you are rotating at the same time as a lot of other teams, and you do find yourselves vulnerable to being caught off guard by one of the teams that are on the cliff edge. I think that's what happened there. Maestro were not able to successfully plan their rotation, and because of it, they are punished. And they find themselves with just 1 remaining player to try and rotate for them and hopefully survive and get a little bit of placement points. But you can see Horizon on their way. They've had a pretty handy day today. It's certainly not been a disappointing one at all. I think they'll be only needing an average day to keep themselves within the top 10, if not more, and they've certainly done better than that.
Well, Fire Beavers back up to their comfortable high ground position. Moving from Fragment to the north, trying to see if they can catch any teams off guard that might be rotating from Climatizer, Survey Camp, and kind of a counter rotation. This is something that's really interesting, actually, about what Fire Beavers do. It's kind of completely against traditional Apex Legends, if you like. I mean, the zone's going south, Fire Beavers going north at the moment. There's no information for them to hit unless they're going to go to the tower in Epicenter and hit the map room scan. Maestro might be able to get both these banners, though, and it looks like they will be able to. So Maestro, who we thought might be done and dusted in just a matter of moments, maybe be able to continue in this game if they can get them back onto their feet. Another fight breaking out, though, and you mentioned Horizon. Looks like they're
are involved. They're taking some fire because the Izdan is going to be above them, and this is going to be very difficult for Horizon to get out of this position. They need to be working together and working in tandem, but E6 also very close by to put down some suppressing fire. So Horizon units are about just trying to survive. J Savage cannot. Or can he? He's stopping, dodging, dodging. It doesn't matter which way you say it. He's doing the D's.
For now, then it gets taken down, unfortunately. One more shot should do this, and Horizon Union will be eliminated. And finally, Element 6 introduced themselves into today's games. It's taken them 5 games to get going, but
もう半分以上のキャラ使ってんじゃないこの ALGS で。えぐいねこの人ら。
Very against the meta. You're seeing Lifeline in the composition. You're also seeing
エンターテイナーですね。
E6 like to mix things up.
まあ、エレメント6も世界大会が
they don't win a game or they don't get a good amount of points. Like, okay, let's change the comp. Let's mix things up. Let's try something different. And sometimes if you're the only ones running a certain legend in the lobby, it can give you an advantage in fights.
さすがにふざけてはいないと思う。
I'm still laughing at dopping and didging because I just couldn't find the word dodging.
I think what happened, Dan, is you were trying to quote a famous film.
I wasn't even. I just wanted to say dodging.
But then in your head you just had a picture of a digital threat.
I got there in the end. That's all that matters.
I think you did ever get there.
I said dodging. I said the word dodging. It just hadn't come out in the first 2 words. I made up 2 new ones, but I have that power, right, as a commentator. 17 squads remaining. Maestro are going to be back up, though, to a full 3, so it looked like it was going to be a very difficult game for them, but now they're going to at least have the opportunity to rectify what went wrong. Again, one of the benefits of a lot of the teams not banner camping, because a lot of the times it's not worth banner camping for the KP. It's about actually making your rotation and getting into a position yourself rather than pushing for extra KP.
Before Beavers take to the skies, if you didn't think the Beavers can fly, you've just been corrected. And they're on their way towards kind of solving by the looks of things to try and get a bit more loot, or maybe. I'm not quite sure where they're going. They're going towards Overlook at the moment. Maybe they think that they can spot out a team. Maybe they're just going for a little bit of crafting.
さあ、マエストロは起こせましたね。
Again, it's something different from Fire Beavers, something against the traditional flow of traffic, so to speak.
さあ、今日はあまり調子の良くない
They're going to be
V2。
inside of Fragment East at the moment. E6 are going to be in Fragment as well, but on the west side of it. So you wouldn't see an engagement until V2 do make a little bit of a move. But these kind of, I always find when you're on edge on your own, it's always a little bit risky to move as a solo. You can see Zidane is moving on his own at the moment, trying to get a little bit of information for them on the horizon. Has the ability, of course, to queue out if he does come under any duress. But if you're moving as a squad, you can at least reset and you can get some covering fire down. But interesting to see what their next plan is going to be. They do have the map room scan, which is probably what they're going to try and hit to get the information on where they want to rotate, where everyone's set up at the moment. But looking at the zone, there's not too many teams inside of it at the moment in comparison to what we've seen previously. And that's quite simply because there's not as many playable areas and clear playable buildings to coexist.
Yeah, we're going to be heading to the...
You've got me doing it now.
Exhibit is also an
ルイツと
ultimate
マエスト
though,
ラが
so
当
at
たり
least
と
you
ったら
said
マ
an
エスト
actual
ロは生
word
き返した
rather
ばっ
than
かりで
whatever I said
物
that
資
came
が
out of
潤
my
沢じゃ
mouth.
ないから
But
戦
the
闘したくな
we're
い
gonna be heading to the train tracks
ただシールドがもしかしたら分かったのか
is likely where the final
ルイツ
circle
は
is going to
攻
be.
めよ
So
うと
it
す
is a
る
long way to go still for those teams who haven't moved out of fragment, and it's been a very slow day for V2. It's a slow rotation. There's also been a slow day. They were one of the teams that we had our eye on Storm Point, but they never really were able to pick up. They're in 14th position at the moment, only 10 points. They need a big game to really make me believe that they're going to be a squad that can truly fight for those playoff spots. Otherwise, they are going to most likely get to regionals, but can they go any further?
Just showing the kill feed there. Effect picked up a knock.
さあこれやったろうというシアウルト、ただ返しのリブート、まさかのクリプト構成、これはビットフィックスとしても計算外、ただ構わずいくか、パイロン壊してから、ホライゾンウルトを投げたいよ。ただ勝て、あれ勝てえぞ。敵もホライゾンか、ああ別部隊だ。構わず逃げます。さすがに別部隊は無理です。
And has the grab lift to get them out of this sticky situation. It looks like there might be a team up on the high ground. They're going to have to play the top of this crane.
ちょうどシュートバッテリー巻き終わった後に
Nightmare Esports eliminated down to 16 squads now as the pace starts to pick up a little bit here.
You can really see how having the horizon has benefited Bitfix Gaming as well. Many teams would have just been left for dead there in that spot down below, and they would have just got drilled by all the teams that were surrounding. But being able to quickly take that high ground without having to use an ultimate like Valkyrie, for example, it does benefit Bitfix running this composition, and they've stuck true to it as well throughout the entire day. They are going for a more aggressive comp. They have been taking fights. They still find themselves in second position. And as soon as they saw Passion eliminated at the start of this game, Bitfix Gaming would have been licking their lips at the prospect of what could be regional finals if they can carry on performing this way.
One team is in a great spot.
クリプトも使うわ、
Gaiming Gladiators.
マットマギーも使うわ、レブナントも使うわ、コースティックも使うわ、ブラッドハンドも使うわ、ライフラインも使うわで忙しいですね。レブナント普段の練習は何使ってるんでしょうね。ランダムキックで練習してるのかな。さあ狭くなったところ、
Mania is going to have to do more work though because his teammate has gone down. Natsuki in the kill feed as well for KCP. He's trying to finish off everything and will do. J-Lings Esports get absolutely decimated. The smoke will go down to allow the reds to come in, but Mania played that one perfectly. Nice and patient, and when it matters, you hit your shots.
And even though J-Lings are in a very commanding position with the points total they have right now, it has been a slow and disappointing day by their standards. It was looking somewhat promising in Game 1 when they got to that final circle into top 5, but ever since, they have just been falling quite early on and have not been able to pick up the pieces, and they're down in 17th overall right now, which is not what we expect from J-Lings, so they'll try and pick it up. But here comes Fire Beavers to try and make up for what didn't happen earlier and take down Maestro.
I mean, Maestro finished Legacy eliminated by the way, just while we've seen this going on, but Maestro thought, hey, you've done so well to get back into that. I've rested both of my teammates. Why are Fire Beavers so deep inside? What is going on right now? But Fire Beavers, you gotta say they're playing pretty well. They get the free KP. Sandy now is gonna try and escape. He's gonna be left on his own, unfortunately. I feel like that might be the end. Sanya also takes damage. And if they hit him a little bit harder, that might be them eliminated completely.
この人ら最初から戻ってくるつもりだな。最初からここでクラフトしてね。
The worry for them now is they've got a minute and 44 to get into the zone. They do have the Valkyrie ultimate
アンチ
available
分か
to
った
pop
時
into
点
the
でこう
skies,
言って
but
こう言って最後
the
フ
zone's
ラグ
gonna
メント
burn.
来て移
And
動
they
しよう
need
み
to
たいな
make their
こと
way
決めてたん
into
だ
a safe zone before the
必然
next
だ
zone
ここに来
closes.
たのは。
How many times do we see this, though, from Fire Beavers? As you said, it's completely off script, but we've seen Fire Beavers win games like this on World's Edge, where they've rotated completely against the grain. They've gone north into the red. They found themselves a craft, and they've got meds. They join the action late when people are fighting, and they still somehow find a victory. It's a team who loves to play edge. It's a team who loves to play fights, and one of the best ways to win fights on the edge is with the element of surprise, and that's definitely what Fire Beavers have when they make rotations like this.
I feel like this is for Fire Beavers the Goldberg scan. They're just like, who's next? They're gonna get the information.
ああ確かにこの第3円で敵の位置分かるのでかいよな。外ムーブチームそれ有利だよね。第3円で敵の位置分かる相当ムーブしやすいよ。ノーセプとかね、あの辺は全チームやってるんだろうけど。
They do have the meds to get into zone here. They will be able to work their way through choke into Harvester. E6 is the only team that kind of stand in their way at the moment. Who are inside of Harvester. 入るとこなくて死ぬっていうのが多いから。ただ敵の位置分かることによって、じゃあこっからだったら外ムーブだけど、あと入りでも入れるよねっていうのが分かるっていうのは強いよね。 Hedge your bets, flip a coin. It could go east, it could go west. If you're on one side of it, you're kind of hoping it
さあ
comes
アライ
to
アンスニューキャッ
Yeah,
ス
it
ルで
pulls away from the
横
train
の車
tracks
線も
north of Tree and instead goes to
守りつつ
the mountain side that's on the northwest side of the train
さ
station.
あちょうど
It's
隠
just
れる
close to
ニュー
where
キャッスル
Alliance
絶妙な
reside
高
at the
さ
moment. Pioneers get eliminated. Alliance make short work of them in the end as Hardeki also got involved with a little bit of damage from a distance. But Alliance, they can push themselves safely through this train station. The only problem pushing through the train tracks like that is you're quite vulnerable when you come out the other end, so you really do need a game plan of how you're going to get out. But Alliance do have the Newcastle to work with.
来たがちょっと他のチームがいたかさっきのビーコンの時とは状況が変わってたか
What's everybody been
あ
doing?
ー視野が落ちた
Maybe we should have stayed out.
あー別車線
It's not looking too good for them right now. Nine Impulse is going to be the last one
こ
alive.
の
but
バス
Fire
まで
Beavers
来た
do
かったん
make
だろうね本当はただ思った以上に
diamonds
車
out
線
of
が
the
通っ
mud
ちゃった感
sometimes.
じか
Medkit going to be popped here by Nine Impulse. Is he going to go for the
さ
banners? Is
あ
he
た
going to
だ
be able to get the
木のお
rest?
か
But
げ
the
で起こ
rest of
せ
the
そう
lobby is just firing down on at the
木のおかげで起こせるか
moment. He might be able to actually get one of his teammates back onto his feet. You can see
はい
that
かなりの車線やだねうわ
they're all
ー
trying to
居
do
場所
what
が
they
ばれ
can.
た
There's a fuse ult going down as
それは
well.
無理だ
It is- Everyone can do what they want at this point.
Yo,
Game number
当たるん
5. It's official. You can do what you want. It's time to go wild.
Keller Gaming eliminated, and Fire Beavers, it does seem like everyone has eyes on them at the moment, but they are still alive and they are still being a nuisance under this bridge. I think this is where a lot of teams thought the circle would have been finishing, but you can see now where that pull is to the northwest side, as I'd alluded to. But Alliance has now pushed in and will be taking on Dynasty here.
本田の隙間から
Spray coming
救
through,
急
but
打
the
ち
Peacekeeper's going to be a problem. Hackis just snaps on with a little bit of help from Yuki. And Alliance now force their way into a building. Now, this is something that they definitely worked on as a squad. How they want to siege buildings using that Q
ニューキャッスル
from
記録の
Newcastle.
警戒
Using it just to
エ
walk
ター
in
ナルが攻
behind.
めようとして入ってきましたさあそっち側に城がない全部やった
One player has gone down. Alliance find themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation.
ただ別か
But there's another kill. Effect has got to be dealt
アライアン
with.
ス
Yuki's
返し
still
た
alive.
返してる
The turtle gets
返
taken
した
down.
返したのどう
Yuki
して
is
どうしてどうして
burning
どうして
Oh
どうして
my.
どうして
Effect now trying to hold off the entire lobby, and he's somehow doing it.
なんで返し
Not
た
only
の
does he hold off, he decides, you know what, I'm going to push out as well. I'm going to try and take a little bit of space here so that Hackers can be picked back up and Alliance hold on strong and hold off any teams from pushing in. That's two teams that attempted to try and wipe Alliance after their initial push. Incredible hold and an incredible play, and I'm really enjoying the composition that we see from this Alliance roster and how they managed to fortify some of these buildings within Newcastle.
Aurora eliminated. Just check that kill feed. They will be out.
キャパケが落ちてきましたが一人は活気が入ったねリスポンビーコンが入ってたらでかいやろキャパケ
right at the start of this show and a few moments ago.
さあ
They have to take
GG は
inspiration from
いつも
North
このぐ
America.
らいまで
NRG
は
split
いる
one.
んです
Everyone was
が
like
キルコを
NRG
取
in
れないまん
qualifying.
ま
Then they put in a monster
この辺で
performance in
脱
the
落
last
してま
couple
い
of
たポイン
games
トがね
of the
2
last
ポイン
week
トで終わっちゃ
to
うんだ
give
よね
themselves a chance. TSM last night. They were saying themselves, well, Hal was saying himself, maybe Verholst and Reps didn't believe it.
さああの下に敵がいるかどうか
They thought their
先
chances
的
were
ア
done
ライ
and
アンスは
dusted.
早めの移動
And then
多
they
分
come out
あ
with
そ
a
こ
monster
ニューキャッスルに
performance.
取り
It's
たい
two
んだけ
games
れ
to
ど
save
も
your
そ
season.
こニューキャッスルに取りたいんだけれ
For
ども
GG.
GG が取って
Alliance make
た
their
から
move through the
第
skies
2
as
案
well.
としてねここを
Alliance
取りに行った
couldn't
ね
get high enough to get over the mountain, so instead have to just try and take the northern tip here, but they are going to have to go down before they can go up. It's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster in many ways in terms of emotions and also the positions they find themselves in. But there are teams behind them they could take the fight with if they choose. It's going to be GG that are closest. Leogri having a little peek.
これアンチ
Yeah,
や
looks like
ば
they're
くない
going to
こ
have
れ
to be engaging here.
さあアライアンス逃げてきた V2 の一人を倒したいやこれ行くなこれ GG を倒しに行くねこっちが全部取ろうという3段ただハキスがやられたいやニューキャッスルやられたのでかいいやそこの車線やばいわハーデキそこずるいわいや強すぎ
That is so
いや
tough for Alliance as well. They just were
崖上の車線えぐか
caught
った
in
ね
different lines. They were taking different fights, and when Hackers had jumped in, Effect was taking a fight with someone else. Now E6 under pressure from VCGO. Bitfix getting involved with it as well as Bitfix Gaming, who are in second at the moment, want to put themselves into first place. They want the regional finals, and they're giving themselves a brilliant chance of doing so.
Here go GG. They have the Valkyrie.
さあやばい
They have to get over that mountain. But can
もう
they
終わってる
find
戦い
somewhere
が
safe? They're going to land up on this high ground here. They will be able to reset.
さあハイグラウンド取れたんだけど味方が落ちちゃったから、あ、やばい、吸われた、終わった。なんとかなんとか。ただこれをむやみには降りれないよ BFG は。交渉は取れてるけど。
It's pretty much an isolated 3v3. Slayers is the last remaining player on E6, just ratting it out for second place at this point. Don't think he'll get involved just yet. Instead, Bitfix are trying to take advantage of the high ground that they have, but they have given up ever so slightly, and you can see how concerned they are about this rat. They keep checking back behind them.
BFG will have to leave that high ground at some point. Zerafa's trying to get an angle. Look at Zerafa, he might be able to beam down onto one of these players if they just show for a second too long. The Ogre's caught out in a little bit of a perilous position at the moment. He needs to try and get back to a teammate. The Q comes in as well from the Seer to cancel those heals. Trix has got to be careful as well, but GG will have to leave. What utility do they have to play with to force their way out of this situation?
What does Slayers do here as well? How patient can you be? How desperate are you for second place? Do you just let this fight go down, and when do you start to show face and start to get involved?
詰める手段がね、レイズもアッシュもホライゾンもいないから、こうやって徒歩でじわじわっと行くしかない。あー、その先に潰し。いや、ただそれあまりスレイヤーに時間をかけすぎると、あ、やばい、それミスしてやばいな。それまずいな。時間かけすぎだな。あ、やばい、あると。やばい、GG あると。
GG push in when they see the opportunity open up because Slayers distracted BFG. The knocks happened on both sides. So it's a 2 versus 2 and Slayers still alive and has been able to heal back up here.
Slayers might be able to win this one now. It's a 2v2. Hardeki.
あ、やばいな。あー、降りてった。やばい、2対2。これも実質 1v1v1。これしかもスレイヤーズが圧倒的有利。終わった。終わったぞ。さあ、1v1 か ?1v1 だ。これはただ、まさかの。まさかの。うわおお、マジ。うわお。なんだちょっとライフライン来たじゃん今。かっけー。バカにしてすいませんでした。バカにして本当にすいませんでした。
And also Slayer's doing it as a lifeline as well. I mean, just breaking the meta at that point. He must have thought that it was over when Bitfix Gaming turned around, and at one point I think 3 of them were all shooting at him, but he manages to survive, manages just to hide up into a little nook and cranny that was in the wall, heal back up, and then it was just a matter of patience. Like I said, I did wonder how patient he was going to be. Played it to perfection, but 6 overall.
6なんとあの構成でホライゾンブラハライフラインで13キルしてます。なんだよ、一番点数取ってんじゃねえかよ今日。なんだよそれ。アライアンスが、まあ、ポイント今回も稼いでたので、さらに差を開いて1位ですね。エレメント6は今ので一気に20何ポイント積みまして4位まで上がってきましたよと。さあこれで最終戦を控えてますが、まあ、結構差がねパンポンと空いてるから、まあ、1位2位はそんなに変わらずかない。3位までは結構狙えるね。どのチームも結構どのチームも3位までは狙えそうっていう感じだね。アライアンスはもう1位これ取ってあれだな、総合でね30チーム中1位取れんじゃないかなこのまんま。さあそんなところで最終試合、うわしかも火力寄ってるわ。火力寄ってます、アライアンスのランドマーク。
Spot and who's just going to be at the top of the mountain when it comes to dominating in this region. Alliance at the moment hold that first spot, but Bitfix Gaming has been the big story today. They are in second place and they are putting themselves within a shout of the regional finals. They were in 27th place coming into today, but they will push themselves up into that top 20 as long as they can keep enough points ahead of Passion. Now, Passion have been struggling, do find themselves in 19th right now, but if we were to see Passion have a game win here, that might change things and could just put them out of reach.
Well, there's your story. Is another one to throw in there. It's more of a statistical one, which usually falls into your lap. His effect is sat on 99 kills for the split for Alliance. The question is, can he raise his back? Can he get 100 here? In split 2 of the Pro League, we'll have to wait and see. You wouldn't bet against him the way he's been playing.
Definitely wouldn't. I think that it's very likely that 100 kills are going to happen in this game, especially looking at where that circle is going to go. It's another good one for Alliance. We're heading to the southwest side of the map. Whether we will see it go all the way southwest remains to be seen when we get a little bit more beacon information. But again, good news for the likes of Aurora. Even KCP won't be too disappointed with this one because they're going to have ring console information and the map room scan to work with between Lava Fisher and Mirage à Trois.
Also GG, good zone for them. They've got the map room scan. They're going to be able to get a little bit of info on where everybody is. They can also have a quick rotate and probably think about playing maybe a similar position to what they did before, but it looks like it's actually moving a little bit deeper into thermal station this time, so teams will have to maybe not play the tree side of it, and we can see from that beacon information on your screen where that zone is going to be pulling. So Yuki Hackis and Effect, we questioned if Effect can get 100 kills. He's sat on 99 at the moment. You don't really get a better opportunity than that zone going your way.
Well, if you look at the next predicted circle, it's going to be south-southwest. We are very much heading all the way down to Alliance, as you say. KCP, by the way, might actually be taking a fight here over towards Mirage à Trois. And again, that could be bad news for the team on the receiving end. Passion were the ones who had to struggle with it previously. Is it going to be Phoenix Legacy this time? That would be the real question. But over towards Tree, Dynasty and Maestro are also kind of puffing their chests out at one another.
I have to see if anyone's going to be in a position to pick up these kills, or if it's just going to be, as you say, a little bit of an exchange of, shall we say, glares across World's Edge here. But now, though, you can see that Heroes have control of the buildings. It looks like Dynasty are trying to kind of retreat at this point. Tolkien and Sorban trying to just make sure they can get away, and Mania is going to be following them. So smart to disengage at this point. I feel like early fights is a little bit risky, especially when you've got so much on the line for some of these teams in this final game. But one team who are having an early fight is going to be KCP. You can see they're having a trade-off at the moment with Phoenix Legacy.
Alliance just trying to dominate their home turf here as well and make sure that no one is walking into it for free. At the moment, they do hold that middle area as well on the top of the drill. And they can hold that for quite some time. They do have the ability to get back up there if they choose, just with the ultimate of Effect. He'd have to take Hackis with him, of course. Newcastle can't quite jump that high, although can jump quite a distance. It's GG that are on the other end of it, and GG will look to just try and hold this area. And if they can stay here, if they can keep Alliance at bay, this could be somewhere they could hold for quite some time.
It's a tough hold, though, for GG. Yeah, this is a spot where you do see endgame, but you have such little cover, and especially when teams start to stack up towards the end game, you get a couple of teams rotating in from the southwestern side where they've got the high ground. Phoenix Legacy unfortunately been eliminated in the meantime. You can see you're just consistently under duress, and Lions don't want to let them exist here. They want to pressurize them. They've probably got a couple of armor checks as well. And in fact, I say the man plays with confidence. He's sound 99 at the moment. The question is he going to get 100, and is it going to be a GG player who goes down?
Just get rid of the Watson gen first, but now the defensive mechanism of throwing out the exhibit happens as well, as GG using all of their ultimates just to try and hold Alliance off. They may be a sense that Alliance want this fight, and there's no reason really for Alliance to take it. They don't have to force GG out of this position, but at the same time Alliance is so far ahead, and this is their home territory, as I said, that they might feel confident enough to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Artico's got to get in a position as well here to do some damage to get that white shield up to at least a blue. But Effect is just going to be holding down these angles, and the issue here for GG as well is that even though they've managed to stabilize, they've used so much utility to do so, but by delaying the push from Alliance, making sure that they didn't get a knock, didn't go down, it means other teams have now entered the area. You've got Aurora now, they're going to be overlooking things, Maestro overlooking things, Horizon making their way into zone, which means that making the push here is going to be much more difficult to do.
のよ、ニューキャッスルは。だから下降りてんのよ、ニューキャッスルは。
To perfection from
きついってことでね、
and I said that he can't jump that high. Well, if you take a run up and from enough high ground, apparently you can't jump that high. Very impressive to see just getting out of dodge. Gaming Gladiators, I think, thought they had the opportunity there to really initiate that fight once they'd done the damage to Hackis, but Hackis demonstrating why Newcastle can be such an important character to have, and I didn't realize he could leap that high, it has to be said. But wow, now Alliance can just hold the top of this.
He's got some fast twitch fibers in those knees, let me tell you. The man's got a spring on him. It's like Thierry Henry in his prime. But GG have now managed to move from that position, which was kind of a transitional position, I would imagine. into this donut building now. The dome is going to be much better for this end game. It's going to be a really, really, you would imagine, contested building as well. A lot of teams, if you had to get them to circle a building on the map, if you saw this zone where they would want to play, GG are right inside of that right now. KCP also in a very, very good spot. Alliance up on that high ground, kind of guarantee themselves some kill points, you would imagine, just having the extreme height that they do with the teams that are going to be rotating in later, but also pretty difficult to leave towards the end game. So Alliance going to have some navigation to do towards the final moments of this game.
Yeah, and teams I'm going to keep an eye on as well, of course, Passion and Bitfix Gaming, the teams that are fighting at the moment for that 20th position. I mean, to be honest, Bitfix Gaming might push themselves even further than top 20, but it's certainly Passion who would be the ones who would initially drop out. They are currently just north of Thermal Station, are Passion. They are holding the kind of choke point that goes from staging to Thermal, and they might be able to pick up some KP, but what a tough match 6 it's going to be for Passion, knowing that if they go out even in the bottom 10 here, this is done, and they won't be in regional finals.
Sorbin looking to line up a sentinel shot. He's got that thing charged up. Just 88. No headshot to come in, but certainly going to charge up the Evo shield. A lot of sounds that you want to hear as an Apex Legends player popping off in your headset as he connects with that shot and also gets the Evo shield leveling at exactly the same time. Maestro looking to make their move in as well towards the southwestern side of where this zone is going to be pulling. And they're going to be on the old beacon building, so they should be safe for the next zone, but not for the one following that. So decisions to be made here for Maestro, but they've managed to find a place to play for now.
Yeah, for now, I think that that's always going to be the case when you see a circle like this, and you probably expect it to be going closer towards Thermal rather than heading down to this area. We do see circles sometimes ending here, but it doesn't look like that's the trajectory, but Maestro could maybe have the time to at least think about it and analyze it before they truly commit to one or the other. Third place at the moment, a very solid performance from Maestro. As I said earlier on in the broadcast, they were always going to be at risk of being pushed out of the top 20 if we saw teams below them perform well, but they've made sure that they didn't even allow that to be a possibility. And we will be seeing Maestro in the regional finals regardless of what happens in this last game. As for Heroes who are alongside them, there's no hope now of regional finals for them. They're going to have to look at the likes of relegation. But they can still go out with a bang here and maybe ruin the day of other teams in this lot.
Maestro just going to have a consistent kind of face-off at the moment against Heroes. This is going to be a standoff, armor checks, CQs, trying to get a little bit of information. E6, you can see that they've been busy at trials where they land a couple of gold armors to work with, and Slayer's in a position where he's like, hey guys, I remember how this went last time. Lifeline going to be in the competition again, and you know, I was about to say why change things if they work, you know, don't fix it if it ain't broke, but it's not really the E6 mantra, is it? It's kind of just, if it worked, maybe something else will work even better.
Well, E6 have got to be careful though. They've just been spotted out. They don't want to make too much noise here and generate too much attention as well. Otherwise, there are going to be teams that are just going to make it annoying. It's Bitfix Gaming who are just above them. And Bitfix, I feel like they're not going to be as confident with their pushes in this match number 6 because of what's on the line. If they've done the math, if they've looked at where they lay in the table, they know full well that they need to have just an average game here. They can't afford to go out last and give up some of these points. So they probably won't want to take the fight against D6. Jailing's down to just 2 again, by the way. It's really been a disappointing day for the Jailing squad who have impressed us all season long. Again, it's not the end of the world. They will still be on an incredible points total, but just a disappointing day.
Yeah, but some rough zones for them as well. You got to think about where their zones have gone. There's been 2 extreme western zones. One right down, one extreme western zone, one down towards Thermal Station. This one, of course, going to Thermal Station as well. But 5 Evers, their day is done. It started off with one of the craziest plays that we've seen in Apex Legends history. And unfortunately for them, it kind of falls a little bit flat in this final game thanks to V2. But V2 absent for most of today. Zidano's starting to lead the way a little bit here for the squad with a couple of assists and damage going down. But you have to wonder, is it too little too late for them?
Yeah, it may be. I feel like that's the case for a lot of these teams in this lobby, that it is a little bit too late. They've come to life, maybe not just too late in this match day, but too late in this season. That's V2 now looking to get aggressive, and maybe looking to try and take advantage of the damage that they have put down.
ちゃんと壁になるように。
Cyril's going to go down, but the exhibit's not going to find any targets to play with. The Q doesn't hit anything either, so that team is completely backed off.
さあ、
Jailing's down to just one. JMW trying to disguise himself as a mountain, which is difficult to do in Apex Legends, but he's doing a pretty good job of it right now.
逃げ切ったと思ったかな。
But V2 at least picking up a couple of KP on the other side of the zone. You can see Alliance still banging the center. KCP, they're going to be there. D6 trying to force their way in as well. Bigfix Gaming, a little bit of a scuffle in and around staging for now, but V2 are kind of working their way, weaseling their way down south to see if they can work a way to get through that choke around tree into the zone.
Bigfix looking to hold off the team that is approaching from staging as well. Dude is taking a lot of damage, but so has Cracked. Really, the black hole's going to come out as well? No, okay, gets destroyed very quickly. It looks like BFG are looking to just try and pick up some extra KP here, but they're being very, very passive about it.
さあ、残り2人が下から上がってって、
Definitely got to be careful because otherwise, if the push comes through, this could be the end of BFG.
Yeah, this could
be the end. Like you say, Craig does fall.
Horizon だからちょっと生き残れる。ちょっと生き残れる。
Craig is extending his fight far longer than it should go on to, but that will be BFG eliminated. It has been a magical day for them so far, but the question probably still stands with it. 0 point looking game.
気づいてそう。
Maybe a couple of KP in our final game of the day. Was it enough?
It should be. It still should be enough for Bigfix Gaming. They're 10 points ahead of third place, which is Maestro, and they are then 16 points ahead of fourth place, E6. So I'd like to think that Bigfix will probably hold on to second place, if not third, and I believe that the top three would still do enough to get them ahead of Passion, unless we see Passion have a big game here and really propel themselves up the leaderboard. So it's going to be eyes on Passion when it comes to those regional final spots. But elsewhere, it's about who is going to be actually taking the victory here, because there are so many teams here in Thermal Station, and V2 might be greeted by several as they land.
Q's going to be going out. They do get the catwall down though, just to deny the lines of sight from the teams to their east. So now they can focus ahead. They've got the Seer ultimate to deal with from their opposition though, and it's going to be Aurora who have got that down. So they take the high ground. Ranch is launching a couple of arc stars to try and do some damage. But then you've got Alliance on high. You've got charge rifles raining down damage as well. And Alliance have given up the high ground to play the low. And this is a smart play, because as I say, dropping down from that high ground a little bit later in the game is so difficult to do with teams focusing in on you. Playing from the low ground for the next rotation, much smarter decision.
Yeah, you can also use the doors a little bit more effectively than just the open space where you're so vulnerable from being shot from angle, as well as far more protection down low. You can maybe be deleted by grenades if you're not careful. As by the way, Aurora down to just one. Sunset going to be the last remaining player, but V2 will get eliminated, and maybe Aurora can get back up to at least 2. As at least Gold Res is going to come through, so Aurora are not going to be in too much of a difficult spot unless GG decide to full send this.
GG versus Aurora. Aurora weak, and you can see that Hideki is desperate to push this. He sees the KP in front of him. He's taking damage on the cross. Now this is where you gotta be careful. You can't throw this one away. Hideki trying to escape. Trying to weasel his way back to his teammates. Element 6 will not be repeat winners though, as they have just been eliminated. We're down to 14, but heart in mouth moment there for Hideki.
Yeah, really difficult situation as well for a lot of these teams that are trying to get into the thermal area. All the teams that have got there in the early positions have just got such free shots. Nightmare Esports also eliminated. Now, they've not had that miraculous day they would need to get into regional finals, so it's going to be relegation for them, as 13 squads still remain. Is Passion one of those? That would be my real question. I haven't seen them on the kill feed yet, and I believe, yeah, Passion's still alive. And they push themselves up into 18th overall right now, which would be 2 points on the board. I believe they're going to need at least a top 10 to try and contest Bigfix Gaming. We'll have to wait and see, as Vortex now are taking fire from several different squads.
Vortex are eliminated as well. And it's Passion who are getting some kills here. Aurora also picking up a couple of kills. And we saw what they did in an earlier game as a duo. Fought their way all the way to the end game, but now they're in a little bit of a pinch. You can see Ranch is just trying to get a portal down on the Wraith to see if he can get some angles. Help Sunset out. But Gaming Gladiators are looking to have another pop at this. Hideki, last time he went into this fight, he had purple Evo. This time he's got red.
Aurora trying to apply the pressure through the smoke, but as you said, as a 2, this is going to be very difficult. Sunset gets taken down. Keller Gaming also eliminated in 12th position. Ratch is going to be the last remaining player now on the Wraith. And I guess if you want any legend to work with, at least you can go into the void here and get out of dodge.
And you can also hopefully get out of the Zero if you're an Aurora fan. That's difficult to say.
GG とこれは KCP か
GG trying to move in though. Hardeki looking for KP, gets flesh damage, but this time he's going to be very weak again. And has the same outcome as the last time we saw him taken down to flesh damage. Alliance on the move as well. Needed one kill to get to 100. It's not going to happen.
ただ1人残ったニューキャッスル強いぞ。1人残ったニューキャッスルは強い。
Pioneers have gone down as well. 9 squads remaining here, and Hack is on the Newcastle. Looking for a finish here so we can get an armor swap.
Passion get eliminated as well. Hack is the last remaining player, gets the armor swap. He's trying to do what he can with the R99, but they get discombobulated, eradicated. They were oblivious to where the final team was that was around the corner, and now Gaming Gladiators look to try and hold this position that they held Alliance off for so long, and they're still alive.
火力の東側のチームを全部潰してからバルジャンで飛びたい。早めに終わらせないとバルジャン飛んでる暇がなくなるから早く終わらせたい。
They have to pick up kills. They have to get a first place finish to give themselves an opportunity at maybe making a crazy run towards the regional finals, and of course towards qualification for Lambert. Hardeki's been lucky a few times to get away with his life, but now he's looking to take the lives of some other players in the lobby.
They needed a win, and they need a lot of kills. Well, the kills are starting to flow, and the win is looking more likely until Hardeki gets taken out of the sky, and now GG down to just 2. Can they rescue Hardeki here? Is there a chance for a res, or are there just too many teams in this area?
Now a lot of the time the talk for GG is all about Hardeki. Well, now it's time for Neogri and Artico to prove that they can get it done as well. Artico's going to have no shields to play with. Danish are trying to move in here. Artico is dealt with, and now it's all on the shoulders of a 1v1 situation. Leogri is here. Bavis is going to move in as well. The knockdown shield isn't enough. The top 2 remain.
ただそこにエターナルが最後崖側からやってきましたが、トマギーとヒューズです。
And it should be just cleanup crew. It's simple. It's Eternal. They take match number 6, but we did see a lot of teams put their best foot forward, whether it be getting to regional finals, whether it be positioning yourself for the playoffs. It was everything in match number 6 as everyone put their lives on the line.
Massive game for match number 6.
エターナル11キルだってめっちゃいいじゃん。いやマットマギーとヒューズの11キル見たかった。次移してね、世界大会プレーオフの時。さあ最終順位。さあアライアンスが72ポイントで堂々の1位です。ほんと強いわ。でビットフィックスが検討にこのデイ5の中では一番調子良かったんじゃない？一番ポイント稼いでるんじゃない？マエストロ、オーラ電子、パイオニア、エレメント6と上位のチームでポイント稼いでないところで言うと J リングとかかな。 J リングが今日ちょっと調子悪かったのか何か試したのか。あとホライゾンユニオンとかもね、まあでも30ポイント取ってるからね、結構平均高かったね今回ね。30、36とか取れたらね、10位以内入れていいんだけど、ここが結構詰まってたわ。じゃあ、これでヨーロッパ EMEA は全日程を、レギュラーシーズン日程を終えて、リージョンファイナルまでの試合は全部終了です。ここから上位20チームがリージョンファイナル、上位8、10かな、ヨーロッパが世界大会に臨める最後の試合に向けた順位こちら。これあれかな。この白抜きは、どう組み合わさっても例えばこの人たちが最下位を取って他のチームがバカポイント稼いでたとしてももう数学的に絶対に90このポイントは超えませんよっていうのでちゃんと計算した確定ラインだね。計算した確定だからアセンドはそのなんか天地ひっくり返るような確率のことが起きたら落ちちゃうんだよ。0ポイントで他のチーム下位のチームがバコバコ20何ポイントとか取ったら落ちる可能性があると。そういう数値だねこれは。まあでも95が確定ってことはアセンドも残り数ポイント取れば確定ラインに乗るっていうね。逆に言うとこの95多分まあ90ちょいぐらいかなが多分確定ラインに乗ってると思うので、まあまあ J リングまでは確定だね。 J リングまではまあほぼ確です。きついとこで言うと多分 2R1C ボルテックスらへんは多分結構きついんじゃない？ 11以下がどうなるかによるけど。62、3、4、5。 じゃあ分からんね。4ポイント。69から58のこの10ポイントの間で10チームぐらいいるから、まだ分からんね。10ポイントの差だったらどうなるか分からないからね。いや、ヨーロッパ多分めっちゃおもろいね。リージョンファイナル。エーパックノスはね、多分ね、9チームはほぼ角なんだよね。8チーム、9チームほぼ角だから、正直この世界大会争いがね、あんまり面白くないんだけど、ヨーロッパの方がまだ枠がまだ広がってて、ワンチャンありそうな雰囲気ですね。はい、というわけで、明日、NA の12試合ガッと見て、で、リージョンファイナルがゴールデンウィーク中にあるので、それも見ますと。で、空いた時間で、ハテナの塔をやって、って感じかな。で、ハテナの塔終わったら、またちょっと違うゲームやるんだけれども、ちょっと迷ってます。ちょっと迷ってる。ゼルダ発売前にゼルダをやるかもしんないし、リバイバルでゼルダガーってやって、興奮状態を保ったまんま発売日を迎える可能性もあるし、ちょっとね、ゼルダでショートも作りたいなっていう気持ちもあって、だから配信撮って、ショートも一緒に撮ってを狙ってもいいし、ただ他にもやりたいインディーズゲームもあるということで、迷い中です。ただ APEX のね、この見るっていう配信はね、全部しっかり今後、日程的にやっていきますので、ぜひ見てください。明日とりあえず NA の試合を見ていきます。よろしくお願いします。時間的には多分、3時4時とか夕方ぐらいからやる予想ですので、ぜひ皆さんお越しください。ではこれで配信終わりたいと思います。最後にチャンネル登録高評価ぜひともよろしくお願いいたします。噛みました。よろしくお願いいたします。じゃあまた次の配信で。じゃあねー。